know we haven't spoken in a while, and I just wanted to let you know that I miss you. Hey, it's me. I know we haven't spoken in a while, and I just wanted to let you know that I miss you.
Brand new with it. Check 1, 2. Oh, shit. I only hear one side. You hear one side of me? Okay, man, that's my shit fucking up. It's probably this little chingadera that fell or whatever, but I can hear myself. We good, man. Welcome back to the Blackout Podcast, a new week. Man, I feel like it's been forever because we've been pre-recorded the last couple weeks. That's because we have some shows, right, Danny?
Yep. We've been on the grind, making the money, so we got to do what we got to do, baby.
That's it. Duty calls, and so do the bags, because if I don't go get it, then wifey will be calling me, if you know what I'm saying. So I ain't too far from that, but we had a good time. Where the fuck did we go? Bakersfield.
Yeah, Bakersfield. And then we did
the weekend before.
Amphitheater. Then after that, I think we went to Dallas or New Mexico or something.
Fucking cruise. We've been everywhere, dog. But that's a good thing. And we need to start taking that shit on the road, man. I mean, but I don't. I mean,
started it,
maybe one mic and an iPhone, bro, because I'm not hauling all this shit around no more. That's why I built a studio.
Yep.
Facts.
Take the camera.
So shout out to everybody here watching live, our day oneers. We call you the Blockheads. Shout out to the Blockheads. Get your Blockhead t-shirt right now. Go to the community forum right here on YouTube, and you can check them out, all sizes today. Before we get into this Blockout podcast, we want to mention our beautiful sponsors, man. These guys have been down with us since, man, day one. The Munoz lawyers, right? The Munoz brothers, Ralph and Mike. Nancy, shout outs to the whole firm out there, Latino-owned, criminal injury, attorneys, accident, all of that, all right? Make sure you guys check them out on their Instagram. There it is, at Munoz Lawyers. Munoz, you might even find ODM spitting some bars, a little jingle on there, you know what I mean? Check out some of the testimonies right there. The Munoz Lawyers, again, attorneys at law, and they're going hard for the Blackout podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, let's loosen up a little bit, and I got a lot to say, and I'm not unhappy that my co-hosts aren't here. You're probably wondering, where's Blackiana, where's Money Moons? Both had a couple things going on. I won't get into that, but we will definitely see them back next Monday for sure here on the podcast. But with that being said, man, where do I get into this? I didn't even write this intro because it would be way too long. Like, that shit right there was long enough, that sponsor, but it was well worth it. Shout outs to my brother. Mm-hmm. This guy, man, hip hop, all caps. All right. He's a father. He's a YouTube mentor. He's an author. He's a husband, right? Don't want to leave that out. I don't want wifey coming after me. You know what I'm saying?
That'll be today.
But most importantly, the dude is a humbled individual, and I can't wait for this freaking conversation because you're going to learn a lot today. I'm going to learn a lot today. This man, why? Because he has done the homework for us. He has done the research. Now, I know the game is to be sold, not told, but my brother has been giving you gems for about 5 or 6 years, just alone on his YouTube channel. Prior to that, man, enough said. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my guest, my brother, Curtis King.
What's good with you, man? I'm fond of hearing.
Woo!
Hey, come on.
Good to hear your voice, man.
Hey, it's good to see you in person. It's been a minute.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Because I want to go back. Danny?
Yeah.
Let's put that picture on the screen.
Oh, I knew it was going. I knew I was going to see this laptop.
Man,
today.
but you got to appreciate the outfit, though.
Yeah. Shout out to my guy Seth Brundo, who's he was into his fashion design bag. Is my guy who did a lot of stuff for celebrities. But yeah, he put that together. I told him the vision that I have for it. But it's funny because that right there, I always think about when they do a movie, one of them biopic, we gotta like recreate the scene of us. You were walking with me and interviewing me. It was so crazy.
You remember that?
I remember that vividly.
It's on YouTube today. Obviously, you can go check that out. It's on Voice of the IE. That's when I was doing that.
That's right.
This was at the 2012 Paid Dues Festival in San Bernardino. And I'm walking around with my mic. And can you imagine? I'm doing Voice of the IE. This is the shit I was doing. This Blackout podcast. I was doing this shit back then. And I stopped and I kicked myself in the ass. Because what this could have become, or if I had stayed with it, which we'll talk about it, keeping stuff going. But that was I think you went by Young Sinbad, right?
Baby Sinbad. That was just an acronym, but I was Curtis King #1. But Baby Sinbad was like, if you can't remember Curtis King for whatever reason, you remember Baby Sinbad.
Right. And you kind of went with that, right?
I embraced it. I started learning that the things that people call you as a rapper or as a producer, you can fight them, or you can find a way to market them. You can find a way to say, okay, if that's how you remember me before my name, let me give you an excuse to remember something about me. And then if I give you that avenue, then I can bring you into my, my Marvel universe. It's almost like the same thing with superheroes. You see somebody that's like, I don't know nothing about this whole world, but I like this one character. So I always looked at that as an opportunity that I used to be angry about that too. Like, man, I want them to know me for my raps and not my producing or vice versa. But I'm like, the older I got, I was like, as long as you know me for something, it gives you the opportunity to get to know me for something else.
You know what? That reminds me of today. Like when I got back into hip hop, well, I never left it, but musically, I got back in the booth recently last year.
Fire.
And we decided to do a Lighter Shade of Brown EP.
Let's go. Let's go.
So we did the first couple songs. It's time to shoot a video.
Right.
So I'm like, here we go. And then Moons, my partner, he's like, yo, all right, man. Well, Turtle's asking for girls. You know, I mean, what do you mean girls?
Yeah.
Well, we need girls in the videos. I said, no, we don't. I want my raps to shine. Right. I want them to, you know. So that same fucking mentality you had.
Yeah.
But then I gave in, and of course, you know, they ended up being the thumbnail.
Man, look, but that's you got to think about, even like in classic lore of hip hop, just in general, feminine energy is always a thing. When it's a bunch of dudes in a video, we rapping. It's almost like we're rapping for dudes that need some kind of other entertainment in the process. So I always have this theory, and I think it's because I talked to Ab Soul one time, and he was like, man, you know, especially if you're talking about women or relationships in a song, he was like, you need that feminine energy. It's like a secret sauce to whatever you're doing. And ever since then, I was like, all right, well, if I don't have it, see if my wife want to be in it.
Yeah.
Or just figuring out some kind of element that could appease that part of the demographic. But I get it, man.
Are we talking just like visual, or are we talking like lyrics?
Like videos. Just
right.
Videos in general, like anything that's dealing, especially, you wouldn't believe, especially because I do a critique series called Critique My Beats on Mondays. And you don't know how many rappers come through the show, a music video, and it's just them doing the rapper hands in 7 different angles. And I'm like, my audience is majority like 95% dudes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you need some feminine energy. And then I had an artist that listened and came back. I was like, the whole dynamic shifted. His energy shifted. His confidence was different.
Right.
Because he kind of felt like, you know, I can't be looking like timid on here. I just think that it does something psychological to the audience. And so ever since then, it's been kind of something that if I'm going to do a music video per se, then that's something I'm always keeping in mind.
Especially if you ain't the most handsome motherfucker.
I want to look at you for 4 minutes. Not saying you, but I'm just saying in general.
I'm saying we keep it a general form around here, ladies and gentlemen.
Doing the different rapper hands and, and all of the stuff we've seen. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen all the poses.
Right.
What new are you bringing? Or else, my thing is, or just embrace simplicity. Right? Like I don't even do music videos anymore. Like the last time I did a music video was years, because I'm recognizing that the same function that I had in terms of promotion through a music video, I can capture in 1 minute, and I can do more versions of it.
Speak on it.
You know what I mean? Especially in this new content space. And you got to understand, like I'm 39, and I've seen a few different eras of the space that we're in. So I remember when music video was king. I remember when content became sort of the center focus. So that was an adjustment for me, but I'm recognizing, like, dude, usually if I got a nice little budget for an album, maybe 3 or 4 videos on a 10-track album for me. But now I can do a video for every single verse, and that's just one day pieces worth of content. So you're talking about 20 to 30 pieces of content or opportunities that I can tell my audience, I have something for sale. Come check me out.
Yes. As a lead way, as a gateway to your website, to wherever your music's at.
Yeah.
Which you use Bandcamp, all right?
I use Bandcamp to basically to give my audience the closest experience to streaming since I removed my music from streaming. Which
was a very, very big pivotal move on your part. And I have to say, I followed suit.
Did you?
I did. I waited to tell you this because, you know, I've been watching your videos for a minute now. And, you know, obviously there's some valuable gems. So thank you off top for providing the gems, as I mentioned earlier, to a lot of the hip hop cats. Hey, I've been doing this for over 30 plus years. But the same token, you know, I can't stop learning. Yeah. So you always have to learn. And so hats off to you for that. But I noticed that. And then I also noticed when well, before I get to that next thought, explain to me why is it for the audience that don't know, why would you pull your music off streaming?
I always had the thought in my mind, I never liked streaming. And it was one of those things where I had to ask myself, is it because of my age? Is it because I remember when physical was the center focus? You know, when the first pieces of physical music that I got, my mom took me to Warehouse Music to get a Diggable Planets cassette tape, right? So like when that was, I remember like holding the tape until I got home because she wanted to listen to what she got. I remember like seeing it, reading the fine print and all these things. And although it's a lot of nostalgia with it, my thing was, you know, I feel like when the industry shifted because of pirating, because of Napster, I feel like there was a lot of panic influenced decision making. And I feel like every year that's passed, and I just see the way that the payouts are on these streaming platforms, when I see the way that they've kind of pieced together their logic about what the value of music is, it never sat well with me. And I remember seeing in 2015, Prince removed his music off of streaming, and that was something I thought about. Where
I remember that.
And Prince, you know, mind you, Prince, even in the streaming era, was doing some ridiculous numbers going direct to consumer on his website. And that wasn't something I really understood until later on in my career. Honestly, really till last year that I really understand direct to consumer. But as I started doing reaction videos on YouTube and digging into like the inner workings of some of the wild stuff that happens at Spotify, some of the updates they had, like a quota is what I call it. They call it a threshold. I call it a sales quota, that they're asking artists, you must get up to 1,000 streams annually on one individual song before you can get paid for that song.
And that just happened this year, right?
That just happened this year. That was this year.
Right.
They announced that they would do it, but then it happened this year earlier. I want to say in April. And so I had already been on the fence about it because I saw that. I saw just the way that the CEO, Daniel Ek, talks about music and the art. And I'm like, I can tell you're not an artist. I can tell you've never sat down and crafted lyrics and sat down and listened to your final product and say, this is worth something to me. And I know somebody else is going to see value in it. They see it as a whole business in its own. So it just never sat well with me creatively, and especially not from a business standpoint. So I said, why are we streaming? And I started looking at this from a zoomed out point of view. I said, can you imagine if you were Gucci, right? You got this high end music, and shout out to my guy Stevie Crooks because he's the one that kind of helped me with this analogy.
Shout out Stevie Crooks. What up, fam?
He said, can you know? We were talking, and I'm like, can you imagine if you were, say, Gucci, and you got a Gucci scarf for $4,000, and you put it out there in the world? People are like, yo, that's high end. I got to go stand in line for that. But then somebody in the line told you, hey, that same Gucci scarf, same exact one, is in the Goodwill. How would you feel about the value of what you're getting ready to pay for? So I started just like having these kind of thoughts that I wasn't really having before and couldn't really verbalize. And then I just got to a point where I was like, everybody around me was telling me how stupid it was. Everybody around me was telling me how crazy I was. And that's exactly when I knew I had to do it. And then I did it. And, you know, I launched through a platform called Even. And within the first 2 weeks, I think we did like $4,000 worth of direct-to-consumer sales. Took all the music off. And I'm like, it just makes too much sense. I think that it's a problem in music to think that everybody has the same business model because we're selling a similar product. Everybody has a different business. Everybody has a different route, a different audience. And I did that 4,000 off of 140 people. When I saw that, I'm like,
and I think you broke down the numbers afterwards, you know, what you made from Bandcamp, your website, and this,
that
that,
was
or
6
another.
months later. Yeah, that was 6 months later.
I think you just did an update video on it.
Yeah, so 6 months. So that was the first project I did, which was called Storm Symphony. It was an instrumental album / rap album. So it was like a lot of things on it that I still was questioning. Is it just people getting excited about the content? Because I had videos that went viral exposing a lot of the stuff with Spotify. So I'm like, you know, I really want to put it to the test. Plus, I wasn't directly selling my music on my YouTube. I wanted to make sure people bought this off of the strength of the music because I still believe in creating a quality product, the best of my ability. And people showed up. And so 6 months later, after I've had my music off of streaming, 6 months later, as I've been on Bandcamp and sold my stuff on my website, physical media coming directly out of my house, it was like 4,000 on Bandcamp, 4,000 on Even. It was another 3,000, I believe.
It came out to like something like $11,000.
$11,000.
So I want to pause for the cause right there because I don't want you guys to think that and he can attest to this because I've heard him say it, and anybody else is in his position now. Like,
Sure.
there's a lot of blood, sweat, tears, time, energy, sleepless nights. You know, some of y'all slept in your cars before. Some of you guys get this conversation, but that led up to him selling his music now. Right. Now, I watched this recent video, your most recent one, and dog, I was like, yeah, because I was cheering because I kind of remember sort of when you started your YouTube channel, and you made this switch from music to getting into multimedia more so, and you know, actually, as I said, giving gems out to people,
right? And
you know, to be fair, Curtis King's name has been out there as a hip hop artist.
Sure.
You know where I'm going with this.
I know you're going,
but not a lot of people knew that, and you actually stressed that,
right?
In this recent video, that okay, I pivoted this way to do this because you have to see the ending from the beginning. Right. And I think you kind of had that idea. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Right. This is all under the same umbrella. This is all going to come, you know, tenfold later with my music. So anyway, long story short, wrapping it up, I love how you just ended it with, you know what? 5 years ago, y'all motherfuckers thought I was crazy. You said, man, that shit ain't going to work. This is going to be the downfall for your YouTube channel. And now...
It's because of his YouTube.
And now
he because 200, and I'm like, you don't even. If you knew how YouTube worked,
And now let me finish. Let me finish the quote. And now you guys are saying it's because my music's cracky, but it was so y'all got to make up which one is it?
Which one is it?
I wasn't. I'll
tell you this: I wasn't born with a YouTube.
Shit.
The thing about it, people don't understand is that even with the YouTube, it costs money. Everything costs money, and everything is sweat equity. And mind you, I'm making my own artwork. I'm mixing and mastering my own music. Yep. A lot of times I'm producing my music. I'm recording my music. And I don't say that as like, feel sorry for me. I say that to help you to understand that my margins are really good because I am taking care of those things and I get to take care of them. I'm editing all my content. So any piece of content that you've seen, at least on my, I have an editor for my YouTube finally. Shout out to Toothless. But any editing that you see me do on my social media, I edit that myself. And so when I do all of this, people talk about it like it's so easy, but then, you know, as a part of me that's like, if
you don't even know.
You don't even know. But then I think about it and I'm like, of course the people that are afraid to do it would tell me that I can't do it and make up excuses. Because if you came to grips with this is a possibility and he's a one-man team, imagine if you got a 4-man team, 3-man imagine what you could do, but they don't want to come to reality. They don't want to come to grips with that because then I have to admit they've been bullshitting.
Bullshitting, that's a perfect word for it. And one thing you stress, and I've heard from others, Gary V and all these other motivators, is you have the same 24 hours.
Same 24.
Quit bullshitting. So what do you say to somebody who's like, Curtis, hey, man, I really got a lot of ends in my pocket, man.
Yeah, and neither did I when I started. Neither did I. It's not so much about whether or not you have ends. Money's going to come, especially if. One thing I've learned in this journey, and I'm sure you can attest for this, is that when you have the right attitude, you get invited back in places sometimes that your talent doesn't necessarily need to be at a top tier level to be in these rooms. If you're easier to deal with, if you're easier, like I've gotten in rooms where I'm around Grammy winning producers and I can't hold a candle to their skill set. But because people know how easy it is to work with me, I'm going to get them stems from Curtis ASAP. Or they know that I'm professional about the way that I deliver, you know, my verses for features and whatnot. Those are things that require no money to be valuable.
Right.
And so
just being around.
But also being professional. And I think that's something that in our culture, man, in hip hop, it sometimes gets pegged as being corny or doing too much or being a try hard. And I'm like, dog, that has been the thing that has got me invited back into rooms where I could learn more things, bring them to what I'm doing. But then also, too, like, I didn't have a blueprint for this. I got the OGs that have come out the trunk and I can learn what they did in that era, but we're in a whole nother era. And it's like, I don't know no other Curtis King that I can learn from. All I can do is have faith, pray on it, and hope that these things that I'm doing give me an opportunity to do more things. So I'm not even banking on this making me money. Like, It's expensive to go direct to consumer. It's expensive to buy all the equipment that I did.
And you're wearing all the hats on top of that.
And I'm wearing all the hats. And, you know, my body is a lot different at 39 than it was at 29. And that picture that you showed, so, like, I don't suggest this for every single person, but I just want you to know if I can do it.
Right.
There's nothing superhuman about me.
Yeah.
You know, outside of just having an insatiable hunger and thirst for this. I just love it. I love it. And when you love it, like, it's almost like asking a family man, what excuses do you need to protect your family?
Right. Ooh.
What do you mean?
Ooh.
What do you mean what excuses I need? I love my family. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. Even if I don't have the energy, I'll find the energy.
Right.
That's how I feel about my music, is that
Got to.
I go to, because who else going to bang for my music like I am? I know what it sounded like when it was a kick and a snare and an ad lib or a mumble and an idea that became words. And so I just kept doing that, and I keep showing up. And one thing I know is that as long as I keep showing up, I don't really give any opportunity to failure. It's not going to happen. I have to, if I keep showing up, something's got to buckle at the foundation.
Yeah.
Something.
Let's go back to 2012, around that era, around the Pay Dues era. And I know you campaigned to get on that tour. Another example of hustling your ass off to get on a tour like Pay Dues. And if you don't know what that is, you just go look up one of the biggest hip-hop festivals out there nationwide. And this man was part of that. Shout outs to Murs for I know for putting you on that. But around that time, around these people, I also began to learn that you also hung with probably probably the most talked about name in hip hop rapper today's camp, TDE, Kendrick Lamar, Absol, J Rock, and all them, right? How did you link up with them, you know, back then?
That was even earlier than 2012. We're talking about probably 2006 till about 2010. Because I originally, before I moved to the IE, I lived in Carson. Half of my name is Curtis, from Curtis Middle School, which is in Carson, California.
Yeah.
And that's the middle school that I went to. I went to elementary school at Anna Lee, which is also in Carson. And so as I came up, I started to kind of connect with people on MySpace that were in the local area. Because I was somebody that was I was a studio rat, even when I was recording out of my grandmother's patio in Carson. And I linked with a guy that went by Ben Grimm at the time. And we just hit it off instantly. He's just this amazing lyricist with a super deep voice, amazing writer. He would write so fast, but he was the first artist that I worked with where I was like, he's going to make me step what I'm doing up. He told me one time, he was like, man, you mind if I bring through some of the homies? One of the homies in particular I want you to meet, named Absol. Mind you, Absol wasn't even signed to TDE at this time. He was he was a label called Street Beat Entertainment, and he was like their golden goose. He came over, and first session we had, my grandmother's patio. He didn't really say a whole lot of words. He still had the shades, and I had a beat playing.
Did he have a hair?
He had a hair. So it was a little bit of mini fro.
It was
a little mini fro. But he still had the
now.
glasses and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I had a beat playing, and he didn't really say anything. And I was like sitting there kind of nervous because I was like, does he like the beat? Does he not like the beat? And I texted Grim. I was like, yo, is everything good? He was like, watch. Yeah, I kid you not. Probably like a few minutes later, he was like, I'm ready. I was like, ready for what? He had finished the verse all in his head and on pen and paper.
Shit.
And so he went up there and delivered that, and it felt like how I imagined somebody listening to a young Jay-Z and seeing the whole future ahead of them. That's what it felt like with him. But because of my work with him, where I kept working with him, because I saw the potential in what he was doing, he eventually signs over with TDE. And he comes over to my house one day when he got signed. He had his tattoo, his TDE tattoo, and he was like, Curtis, man, I appreciate you, and I want to do a gesture for you. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, give me a CD of beats, and I'm going to float it around TDE, and, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So he was always somebody that no matter where he went in life, he reached back, and it was a good look because that got me an introduction to everybody, from Top Dog himself to Punch and, all the J Rock and Schoolboy Q and everybody in there. So Soundwave, Ali, these are all folks that I met in the very early years. And so as Soul started putting together more projects, I got the opportunity to produce the title track on Long Term 2 and do the album cover. right? So, man, it was just opportunity after opportunity. But once again, like you already know how it is. Opportunity can come, you could take advantage of it, but you still got to work your ass off.
Yeah. Do you think believing that timing is everything on everything?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because at that time, I thought I wanted to be signed to TDE. I was like, man, that's the all, the end all. I had no idea of the independent landscape that I'd be traveling and all the opportunities that would come for me to learn this business from a different angle. Because nothing about TDE and their business or whatnot, but just in general, the things that I've seen from the perspective of being independent. I've seen artists that everything looks gold from the outside, and then you get to the to the fixings and whatnot and the behind the scenes, and you're like, this shit is fucked up.
So you learned this at an earlier time, earlier age?
I kept asking God, like, why do you keep putting me around artists that are near a breakdown? I feel like he kept doing it. I feel like I kept being around artists that were like either having a breakdown or near a breakdown or ready to quit from this. And I started thinking, like, is it me? I knew it wasn't me, but I'm just like, is it me?
Right.
But what I kind of concluded from that after all these years is God showed me that to prepare me for the work that I'm doing now. Because so much of the work I'm doing now is, cautionary tales for artists that are getting into the traditional industry. I learned very early that if I want to help people be independent, I can't trash the industry. I can't talk about all the bad stuff because people don't want to.
They'll look at you like a hater too.
Exactly. Like, oh, you just didn't make it. That's what your problem.
Yeah.
So I said, after talks with my guy Epic, shout out my guy Epic to Don, he was telling me, he was like, man, I think you should lean into understanding what that world is, what's going on. And when something doesn't make sense, you just react to it and let them know what you deduce from that. But because of that, I think that there's a lot of people that are invigorated by independence. They see a renaissance on the way right now. And so I'm just grateful that I pivoted the way that I did instead of being like the anti-guy, because there's a lot of anti-guys in the independent space of just anti-this and anti. And I'm like, I'm not anti-industry. I'm just pro-independence.
Yeah, I see that. I see that a lot. And it shows nowadays, man. Yeah. Congratulations, brother. Because again, that's why that question is so important. And a lot of people just keep going, man. Keep going. And you never know. If this doesn't work out, what you're doing on this path, it's going to lead you somewhere else. Just know that. Best believe. And, you learn all the other, what do they call it? Jack of all trades. But just make sure you're a master of some of them.
Do one thing consistent. I'll tell you that was one thing I didn't even plan for the YouTube. I didn't say I'm
Say it again. That word you just said. Consistency.
Consistency, yeah. I didn't plan for the YouTube to be the thing that, I learned firsthand how hard sometimes it is when, for whatever reason, somebody don't like somebody you work with or don't like you, and you can get blackballed from opportunities. I didn't know how easy it was to kind of get pushed out of the space. So I said, I need to create something. And I didn't know it at the time, but it took me 10 years to figure out, all right, I created my own media platform in the event that I don't get invited to interviews with my YouTube channel. If anytime I want to talk to a reach of potentially 200-something thousand, I have that. Shows, man, you started seeing with the pandemic, I was like, yo, how are we going to do shows? So I said, you know what, let me build a stage inside my house and just live stream that. The physicals, I get that outsourced, but everything is coming from the house. So it's like every aspect of it, merchandise, I'm just figuring out how to be more self-sufficient so that I could teach this to other people, but also so that I can create a business in addition to my content creation that supports my family.
Yeah,
but don't get it
sure.
twisted. Had I not continued to do content creation the entire duration through, who knows what my music career would have been or would not have been.
I remember, again, I'm going back. It's bits and pieces because, following your channel and your journey. I saw somewhere, I don't know if it was Instagram or it was YouTube, and I just remember how you just, like, it's when you first moved out, like, you got your spot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I ain't gonna say where, motherfuckers. I know where, but I ain't gonna say where. But and just to your new home, your safe haven, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, bro, I was so happy for you, low key, because I know I've never been to your house or around the area, whatever. Man. But just just I could tell the appreciation that you had.
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker, like I did it, like, and how happy you were to share it with the world. And if you know that feeling, you know that I know that feeling.
Sure.
Just of my victories, and it's sometimes it's the little things, it's the big things, it's the things we work hard for that mean bigger to us than it made the next person. But
right.
I thought that was so dope. And then now it's like you was like, fuck, dude, I can create, I can do whatever the fuck I want in here now, and everything's right. And I just see it all coming together.
You want some transparency, though? This is the part of the story that I don't hear a lot of my peers talk about. I did get the house, worked my ass off, was not expecting to get into this space. I got there. I lost my drive. I lost my drive for a small period of time.
Right when you got the house?
Not right when I got it. It was more so like after the dust settled.
How many
After
years
I
were
got
you
it,
YouTubing?
I had still already been YouTubing probably already like a good 6-7 years already.
Okay.
I got into the space and I was like, all right, I did it. But now what? I didn't set myself up for the next. And so I got to the place where that home, as big as it is, as proud of I was of it, I was like, but was this it? I thought about all of the struggle rap stories that existed in my life. I thought about all the shit that led up to it. And I was like, not that I'm not grateful, but is this it?
Curtis King's an overthinker.
I am. But you know what? You know what? I'm glad I did do that, because for me, that happened probably a year before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I always say that was my pandemic before the pandemic, because what it made me do was reconnect with my why. And I think when you lose touch with your why, that's when you start doing silly shit. That's when you start doing stuff that are out of character. I'm glad I had that moment because I shut it all down. I stopped doing, like, I was off the YouTube. I was off
You
the
don't think
internet.
you just maybe got burnt out?
No. I think burnout is just something that it's just part of the process, especially if you work the way that we work. But I think that for that, I know for a fact, because I journaled the whole thing through. I was trying to figure out, like, what is this lesson? What is going on here? And I found this out. This is when I found this stat out. Stanford did a study that said the happiest money will make you is when you go from, like, poverty level, 10,000 to 20,000 a year, to when you get up to 50,000. That's the happiest that money will ever make you. Everything above that, you either trying to keep up with the Joneses, or you're just like getting fancier toys and things like that. And I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't know that. And so when I understood, like, I'm making more money than I'm ever making before, I don't have any worries. You know, it was just a part of me that had a little bit of survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt. Another part of me that was just like, why am I not happy? And I'm glad I had that conversation, because it was like, it's because you set your goal, you set your goals too reachable and you reached them, and then you didn't prepare yourself for the next level. So then I was like, you know what? I got this house. We got more rooms that we can sleep in. Every one of these rooms in this house gonna make us some money somehow.
Yep.
And that was the next thing that kind of leveled me up. So my wife has her own press-on nail business in one of the rooms.
Come on, homie.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I got my own studio in one of the own spaces. My first time I had my own studio like that set up. I got my content creation room. My son has his education room. We got a little gym room. And so, like, that was the kind of things that sound very minor of a change, but my soul needed that, because if not, I was just going to be a shell of myself in a bigger home. So I had to go through that. So I say that to say, for some people who think that success is all about a destination, dog, you'll get there and be just as miserable as you are right now. Ooh. So you got to establish right now, like what is your why? Stick to it. And once you reach your big goals, start thinking, as Grant Cardone always says, the 10X after that, think bigger on it. And that's exactly what I've been doing. And that's what keeps me on. That's what keeps me always on point, is knowing that I have some shit that is not reachable right now.
What is your answer? What is your why in one sentence?
DIYers, baby. No.
Hey,
yeah, honestly.
DIYers. Not that why.
No.
Like, why?
I think showing myself what's possible so others know what's possible. Showing myself what's possible solo so that other people know what's possible solo. Learning through my experiences so I can turn around and teach them. That has been my why consistently through it all, because I know that the secret to giving is living. The secret to living is giving, and that fills me up on a regular basis.
That's a leader's mentality, my bro.
Yep.
For sure, respect for that, and that just falls not in line to this. But I mean, I would think with family as well. Like my why is my family. You ask me why you do this. My family now.
Yeah.
It ain't just for me. It's like goes back what we said earlier. Man, there's a reason why. I mean, man, the reason why I had kids at 40.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I got little ones on my couch. Now I got to take care of my health.
Yeah.
One, and also be a provider, and that's my why. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, and I would say that falls into showing what's possible, because a lot of people don't think it's possible to support a family on money. I got family that don't believe it's possible to support a family on music money. So being able to do that is something that's like, it just centers me. It centers everything that I'm doing, because I know every day that I wake up, I see the fact that I can record a verse, look down my hallway, and my son is right there. That's a feeling that no $1 million studio could ever give me.
Talk to him.
Because I know how many times I drove back tired as hell when I lived in the IE, tired as hell coming back from these Hollywood studio sessions. And I'm like, what are we doing? You are exhausted, about to swerve off the side of the freeway. Now it's like I get to wake up and say, what do you want to create? And in what way can you serve your family in the process? Like, the thing about it is the business is so embedded in our lives that it's like there is no separation. Like our family, everything is family. Everything is that in this household. So like my son knows when he comes in, like he'll sit down on the side and watch daddy work on music, or I go in there with my wife. So it's like, I like the way that we figured out our harmony, because I think my mistake was looking for balance in life, and that fucked me up.
What do you say to people that are there? They're in your position.
Yeah.
And one day this could just kind of fall through. I don't know. Maybe somebody just pulled the big ass internet cord out the wall. Then what do you revert to?
I say, because that is a possibility, work your ass off every day and don't take it for granted. I say, because that is a possibility that somebody can take the cord out of this, that's even more reason to continue to show up daily. I always say, another secret to me being confident, moving step to step and all that is knowing that I'm not afraid to start from zero again. A couple years ago, I almost lost my whole shit. I lost my whole business because of some bad decisions with ads. And I had to start over again. It's a different kind of start over at this stage of life.
YouTube ads?
Nah, Facebook ads. Facebook ads for products that, I had like these Curtis King plugins that I was doing. I was really branching out, trying to figure out my 7 streams of income, of revenue. And, I took a chance and I bit the bullet on it. It was during this big Apple privacy change that happened where you couldn't track ads a certain type of way. And I lost a good chunk of money that really hit, because it was my nest egg that I saved after the pandemic. So it was looking like for a second, like, we're going to have to downgrade. We're going to have to figure out what this is. So that's why I say, like, reconnecting with my why is what prepared me for that bullshit. Because had I walked into that thinking everything is cool and this money going to last forever, it would have hit me like a ton of bricks. It would have hit me like out of nowhere. But because I went through that, it prepared me to just breathe in the moment and be like, all right, if you're going to do business, the cost of doing business is that you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. This is just a down right now.
Some days we're going to have to eat beans and rice. Next day we eat lobster and fucking steak. But
this shit ain't nothing. And when I was in San Bernardino and it was just me, shout out to the homie Jinx and y'all saying this ain't nothing. Like, when I think about those, like, I remember David Goggins talks about it in his book. He's like, you gotta have cookies in your cookie jar. You gotta have cookies that you go back to and be like, damn, remember when I went through this? Reminders of like, yo, this we didn't been through worse. This ain't shit. It's scary because you got a family now,
right?
But scared money don't make no money. So if the only thing that I can control is my consistency and my output, dog, that's odds I can deal with.
Amen to that, brother. Give him a bomba. Give him a bomba, homie.
Little clapper.
Little clappers.
You broke it down straight up. Like, don't give up.
Don't give
Ask
up.
yourself why you started in the beginning.
I hear that a lot too, and it's so true. Go back to your roots. Go back to what was that hunger? I think I heard you say that. Like, what was the reason why, you started, and just that, because I know damn well I don't want to go back then.
No.
And I don't want to lose what I've done up to this point either.
And stop, what's that called in traffic where you, what's it called, rubbernecking?
I don't know what that
What's
means.
that called?
I hate driving.
When you look,
When you like when
yeah,
you look,
rubbernecking.
rubbernecking.
Yeah.
Stop rubbernecking other people's careers. That right there is gonna kill your momentum like nothing else. Because I saw myself doing that, and it took me having a real OG moment with Murs in Texas. We were on tour with Murs, and he says he was drunk. I don't think he was drunk. I think he was just using that as a way to be like, because we had a real moment, and he was just like, stop paying attention to your peers. He said, I think that's what's making you go slower. He said, you're not building out your own career. You're not focusing on what is Curtis King great at. You're too focused on what this person just did. And, okay, maybe I should try this. And maybe I should try this. He says what you're doing is you're just going in a circle and you don't realize it because you're always working and you're always moving. He told me that. I broke down in the car as we went to the next tour spot because I was like, that was so true of where I was at that point. And I see so many of my peers that ask me questions, but they don't ask me questions about their career. They ask me, why do you think Kendrick did this? You're not Kendrick. You're not Kendrick. You don't got the push he got. You don't got the team he got. You don't got the drive and the work. I've seen this dude. I met him at an earlier stage of his career. He already had Prince-like archives of music. So by the time you meet him here, of course he's going to sound like this when it's time for war, when it's time to create the art form. So I always tell him, I say, dog, you don't have to fill out nobody's Wikipedia page but your own. So focus on you, stop rubbernecking, and you'll just have more peace in the process too, because you realize, dog, you ain't got to be nothing but the best version of you.
Man, make that a clip already, homie. Let's go. Curtis King dropping gems, and I haven't said that in a while here on this podcast, brother. Man, let's go back to the IE, man. Shout out to the Inland Empire. Block Out Podcast, where we're birthed. This is where we're at. This is where we do business, man. And this is where I met this man. I want to touch upon some of the artists. Let's go back to the Vibe days, man. Let's go back to the Common Ground. Let's go back to Noah James and all the cats out there, man.
Don't break my heart tonight, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know you came up with these brothers, and I know you're still in contact, which is dope. You still come back and Noah. Shout outs to Orca, who they call
Orca Man.
Man, for putting on the shows in the Inland Empire.
Yeah.
True hip hop, keeping the flame lit. Dirty Birdie, man. See for yourself. These are the cats that when I started early radio in 2000, we were able to play their music, if not their music, at least their intros.
Right.
Because that, net radio just has changed quite a bit since then. But back then when I was doing it, man, these were the brothers. I would get off the air, I remember, fucking 10 o'clock at night, and I'd go right down the street to the Vibe.
Man.
And I knew I can catch me some good fucking underground hip hop.
And shout out to you for making that trip too. Because after doing a shift and doing your work, you don't owe nobody.
Well, you playing Ja Rule all day. You want to go hear something?
No, and I know
don't get me wrong.
I know you a hip hop head, but I'm just saying, like, I'm like, that's still I think that's one thing that I took for granted too, is that so much of hip hop, at least the way that it was introduced to me, is like it's like take. Oh, can you play my shit? Hey, can I get a feature? Can I get a beat? Can I get it? And I'm starting to learn now, like, nah, this is people's time. The person that hosts the shows, this is people's time.
Yes.
The person that promotes it, the person that's running the bar, the person that owns the bar. Like, I have a deeper appreciation for that now because here I am now in my ownership stage of life, and this shit ain't easy.
Right.
I don't know where people, after being with I got one son. He'll tire me out. I don't know how people find the energy to say, all right, I'm going to go out tonight after this. What?
I saw this meme the other day. I think I quoted it last week. This guy was on there. It was Ben Baller.
Yeah.
Ben Baller said, if you see a guy that's in his 40s or past 40 and he's out after 9 p.m., best believe he took a nap that day.
Yeah. Oh, he took a strong ass nap. He took a strong ass nap. You know how many, like, that's a thing now. And I used to fight it like, man, I ain't checking on nap.
Right. I don't need a fucking nap. Yeah.
I tell my wife, like, it's funny, my wife and I, we make it, we try to make it sound cooler so it don't sound like
right.
You know, I'll be like, we'll take a fat ass nap.
That's it.
And she be like, yo, that sound good right now. Eat some junk food and take a good ass nap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't fight it. I don't fight it because I know, like, especially if I'm gonna go out. But then also too, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's what kind of pushed me away from doing shows anymore, and even late night sessions.
Yeah.
Like stuff that used to be
Facts.
such a no brainer. Yeah, we can stay up till 4 o'clock. Nah, dog, I gotta get up and take my son to school.
You
at
gotta
6.
adjust your time.
Are you kidding
man,
me?
That's first and foremost. And trust me, I'm saying, even here, I go to bed at fucking 1 or 2 o'clock because let's face it, our creative hours. Well, I don't know if they are still for you, but just. It's always about, for hip hop, it's always been late nights, you know. But
you know, that's programming though. I think that's programming though.
Yeah.
I think that's we're creatures of habit, and I think that there's also, like, I study flow state, and there's also steps that we make that, like, one thing that's a key to getting in your flow state, like your state where you don't even pay attention to time. You're like you're in that zone, right? You can get into a flow state when you're working on music or when you're cleaning up the house. One of the things that's a necessity for that is that you have to choose tasks that I think are 5% above your current skill set. When you do that, they're not too overwhelming or underwhelming. And when you do that and you finally get into doing that, like, it just puts you in that space. And what I'm realizing is, like,
tasks as in domestic tasks, or
no, task as in, like, say if I'm making a beat. If I'm making a beat, I'm not too crazy on the keys. But say I say, you know what, I'm going to choose this one scale and I'm going to just kind of get busy just in this one scale. That's 5% what my current skill set is. Because it's a challenge enough to keep me attentive,
right?
That's one of the things that help you to get into your flow state. Now, another part of the flow state that happens is when that part of your brain that does all that talking and self-doubting starts to kind of quiet down because you're too focused on the task at hand. I can do that at 5 a.m. now. I can do that waking up at 5 and then getting to work at 5:30. So now I've transitioned myself from being a night owl creatively to now a morning. Now it's like I don't even get a chance at the mornings no more. Now it's like with my son and the responsibilities, dog, when you get it, you get it. Before I was here, I was writing a verse and just, I think it's really making sure that you're intentional with your timing, and also, like, man, turning the fucking phone off and just saying, like, this moment right now is dedicated to crafting the best verse that I know how. And I think that it doesn't matter the time of the day no more for me because, you know, physically I'm in a good place. Mentally I'm in a good place. When I'm meditating, it's even better. But, yeah, man, I have no desire to be.
I was going to ask you, so do you meditate?
Meditate for sure.
Okay, all right.
I use you know what's crazy? I do a meditation that probably the traditional meditation folks don't like, but I do it in the Oculus, in the headset, the VR headset.
Oh no,
they got this app called Trip, and it's just, you're fully immersed in this world, and it guides you through the meditation with these crazy visuals, and like even like these shapes that kind of simulate your breathing, and you kind of like just. It's just a great way for me to, like, stay immersed.
You do that every day?
I used to. Lately, I've been getting up and getting to it.
Right.
But when I'm on my game, and I'm probably getting real, because about to open up a gym near my house. That, man, you got to think, for me, I've had periods of, like, supreme anxiety and stress just from the nature of the work that I do.
Facts. I'm there right now, brother.
I mean, you are being a dad.
Well, with that on top of it,
on top of it, right? But in those moments, man, I had a time period where. And I spoke about this on my YouTube, where, like, my left side would, like, go numb in certain times. And I was, like, nervous about what that was. I'm like, was it the shot? Was it da-da-da? And I went to a doctor, and he did all the x-rays, and he was like, man, this is stress.
Yeah.
I was like, stress? What am I stressed about? But I think I had got so used to compartmentalizing that I didn't think about it being
and
stress.
they say when that occurs, usually that's the first sign of a heart attack coming on.
Yeah. So imagine my. Ooh. So I say, you know what? We're not even gonna play it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this VR headset. I'm gonna go look and see if this does a different experience for me or gives me a different experience. And it did, bro. It did. It was a game changer for me.
Okay, I would never thought about that, man.
Yeah.
You know, I picture people meditating as Russell Simmons way, just sitting
It ain't nothing wrong with that. Like
by
I love
yourself. I can't do that here if I wanted to. Remember, I got 2 little ones. I got a 3-year-old and 8-year-old. Daddy, as soon as I get in that moment.
Look, that's why. Look,
And that's why the nights work for me better when they're asleep.
yeah. I
Or
want to say
school.
when they sleep and when you sleep, but I say even if like my thing was even getting up 30 minutes earlier, right? Because my son, like, his brain's not even ready for the day until 6:30, even though he wakes up at 6. I know from 6 to 6:30, I go into my studio space, lock the door, and I just have that time to me because, it's just us. But I get it. Like, it's unpredictable. You can't stay consistent on it sometimes because of that. But
Yeah.
I think that there's always a way to carve out space. It's just a matter of what you got the energy to do sometimes, man.
True.
Because it ain't always like, it's not one straight line. But that's not consistency either.
It's not.
It's like, you know what I mean?
Man, we're juggling the same things here. You've got, your YouTuber, you're a producer, a rapper, and then all lines, same thing. Bro, we live in the same thing, and so we know the stress levels. And like recently, sometimes I go, you know what? Like if I got to cut back on some of my shows on YouTube, like I run 2 other segments.
I saw that.
Movies
Yeah.
y Mas, and then I do Books for Crooks, and I'm just trying to fill the jar here.
I get it.
But every now and then you just got to pull the reins back, and like I tell my guys, I can't do it this week.
Yeah.
It's much. I thought I thought it out. I thought I was gonna be able to, but I got to go with what's priority. Because if not, then that's gonna sink everything.
That's important. And it's the hardest for us, I think, for those that love the work that we're doing, for those of us that understand that a lot of people are relying upon us to kind of get it kickstarted. But what I'm finally recognizing is that, like, I can give myself the permission.
Love it.
To just take that break because, hell, my phone don't need permission to get the charger.
No.
When that phone is at 5%, look at how I run around looking for the charger because I want to. Why don't I do the same thing for the very body that supports this entire business, my family, my lifestyle? Like, how can I not take care of the very vessel? So now I'm looking at it like earlier this year, I released, November I released Storm Symphony. January I released another full-length project and extended warranty. And I was burnt after both of those campaigns. And I was like, man, I really need a break, but can I afford to do it? And another question I had was, can I afford not to do it? And I took that break and I came back recharged and ready for what's coming up. But now I'm like, that 4 weeks I took off, thank God I can take that 4 weeks off.
Right.
But because I did that, I'm on their ass now. Like, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do to stop what's getting ready to happen. But I know that I cannot keep up the same work ethic as, like you said, a Gary Vee or like shout out to La Russell. I see these are the folks that I follow on my timeline.
Yeah.
So when people tell me like, oh man, you really on your grind, I look at them and I'm like, there's more I could be doing, right? But recognizing, even like when I went out to go interview La Russell, like these folks have teams, have people who are assigned certain situations and jobs. I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I'm in my DIY. I'm a DIYer for sure, but I need to walk into my DIY era. Shout out to my guy Iman Amari who told me that. He said you need to walk into your DIY era, in which I'm embracing collaboration. I'm embracing working with other producers again. I'm embracing, shout out to like my homegirl Nan Lip, who's like, yo, whatever artwork you need, let me know. And I'm like, yes, that's. But I had to get it started so that people knew what the bar was.
Right. No,
and so
your
I could
way.
talk their language too.
Yeah.
So.
And that helps the stress relief too, brother. Especially when you got somebody's that are great at it.
That's the key word.
They're
and reliable.
great at it.
And I know a lot of great people. I know a lot of reliable ones.
Reliable ones. That was my next thing. You know what I'm saying? They good for like a few months here and there. Probably. Yeah, man, I got other things, and I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
being a creative that's just part of our natural character. But
yeah,
don't do that shit 2 days before the thing come out.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, now you stressing me out more than actually doing the thing.
We got deadlines up in here. Let's talk about the Little Russell interview, because I thought that was dope how you made your way up to his way. And what was it called? The back of the pergola.
Pergola. Yeah,
I've seen so many videos, man. Shout outs to Little Russell, because obviously he's a man that has done. I seen the excitement in your eyes sitting next to this man, and how how I'm giving you flowers for showing me in my squad. You did the same to him as well.
Yeah.
No, because we don't know everything. And sometimes we got to go to YouTube universities, or we got to go to people that we know that have done there, or who are in a place where you want to get. So with La Russell, what I found out, though, interesting was, and I only say this because I took the plunge and did it myself. When you brought up the fact that you took your money off streaming, he kind of, I don't know, seemed like he went against the grain on that a little. Would you say, or did I misread that?
Yeah, you know what? And I don't know how he feels about me sharing this, but I'm not going to give too many details.
Yeah.
When I shared that with him in the moment, he was kind of laughing at me. He was kind of like, what are you doing? Like, because it sounded so ridiculous at the time. It wasn't the climate that it is now.
Right.
But he called me. He called me probably about a month ago, and he was like, what's up, man? I'm like, what's good, bro? Like, we hadn't really talked a whole lot since or whatever. No problems with nothing like that. We hadn't talked.
Nah, it's always love.
He's like, I think I see it, man. I think I'm starting to see what you was talking about. And it was so dope, because I was like, it was almost that other confirmation of like, you're not crazy. You're just early sometimes, Curtis. But once again, I have my own problem, my own insecurities and moments where I'm like, one day I get up and I'm like, I'm 1,000% behind this. This is the way. This is the idea. But then I have that one thought that's like, so you gonna tell this person, this smart ass artist over here, that no, you're gonna tell this person. I got a lot of intelligent people that I've met in this industry, like my former manager, who was like, I don't know about this move at all. And these are folks that I trust. I've trusted with my career. And I don't use this as a moment of like, I knew it and you didn't. I look at it as I needed those folks to be who they were in that moment to really put to test these ideas, because then it made me go back in my research. It made me say, okay, maybe there's a different way I can go about this. Maybe this. But honestly, after doing all of that, and now, me seeing the direct-to-consumer success that I've had with really just a two-man staff, I can't imagine what this is going to be in 6 months after I've saved up the income so that I can delegate these responsibilities, create a system, delegate it the right way, and scale it the right way. I can't imagine what it's going to look like. All that I've always wanted to do was just have the freedom to make the music I want to make with whom I want to make it with, without feeling the pressure on my back about what it needs to be. I've always wanted that from the beginning. The fact that I can now do that, because I have a family now, I can now do that and say it supports my family. I just wake up and feel like I already won. Like I have nothing to prove to nobody.
Yeah.
Except myself. And so I get up and do this. But yeah, Leroy, it was crazy. And then today he just announced that he's doing something with Even, where he's pretty much creating a platform that's really independent of streaming. So I'm just looking at this and I'm like, bro, Eminem last
like
week.
His own Spotify, or like his own type of?
I have to do some more research, but from what it sounded like his own platform where he'll be able to basically distribute his content, distribute his music, and he's going to put it behind a subscription. So then his super fans can pay what they want for the subscription.
Danny, can we throw the number on? Are you okay with taking calls?
Yeah, of course.
If people are tapped in, just put the number up there. It's 951-293-4180. 951-293-4180. Talk to Curtis King. I'm telling you, this man has been through every nook and cranny and crumb and frijole y arroz.
Come on.
Everything, through every jar you could think of hip-hop and just life, period. So in terms of this whole music industry, he'll give you the ins and outs of it. So now's your chance to call. It's funny you bring up, interesting you bring up going the independent route again, as you were mentioning how you pulled, your music off digital platforms, streaming platforms, and started, selling your album through your own website and doing it on your own. People like to go back to the Nipsey Hussle way of doing it, how he kind of opened up the blueprint for that.
Absolutely.
And I keep hearing this, but never did I sit and get in depth with his story. So
Right.
for those, just kind of sum up, what was Nipsey's, how did he create this type of blueprint for the world?
Right. Well, I think that, you definitely got to include Ryan Leslie in that conversation as well. 'Cause
Okay.
Ryan Leslie did it at a time where
Diamond Girl. What was that joint he had?
A gibberish too, no? Or,
yeah, and he did it through the Superphone app too, which, the thing that I've always looked to both of them, and it's not to, water down anything that either one of them have done. They all have made their own contributions. But the thing that I've always thought was the dopest is that they did it at a time where people were completely against it. They were thinking this is the craziest idea. I remember seeing when Nip announced that he was doing $100 album.
Oh.
I remember the timeline and seeing people like, he's out of his damn mind. Ain't nobody about to buy no Nipsey Hussle album for $100 and all. I remember seeing that. It sounds so crazy now because rest in peace. You know how folks treat folks that have passed away and they kind of have like this revisionist history of things. But I remember it was a lot of love. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of love, but there was also a lot of people who had doubts, and seeing him stay above that. Because I remember I was on a timeline when I saw that. I was so excited. I was telling Noah, I was telling Jigs, I was like, yo, he's about to open this shit up for everybody right now. By him putting up the album for $100, which he said he was reading a book, and he got the idea from this mom and pop cheesesteak restaurant who started selling a cheesesteak for $100. And at the time it sounded crazy because of what the prices of cheesesteaks were. It actually hit off because people have curiosity. Well, what does a $100 cheesesteak, taste like? And the curiosity led them to, to word of mouth, which led to a story about what's going on. But with Nipsey doing it, what I love about that is that he said this. He created an experience that his fans couldn't stream at a time where streaming was becoming more and more dominant. And so by him saying, yeah, you paid for $100 album for a CD. The CD doesn't cost $100, but you get the music before anybody else. Also, this stamps you a ticket into a show. If you buy a higher tier, this gets you an opportunity to be in a studio session with them. Think about how valuable that is today now.
Sure.
Like I was there when I heard some of the first few records of Victory Lap. And so by him establishing, that model and allowing people to pay $100, $1,000. Eventually, Jay-Z came through, and I think he bought the equivalent of like $100,000 worth of those albums.
I did hear that.
Right? So it was something that at the time, a lot of like outlets and media outlets that didn't necessarily understand West Coast hip hop, or even Nip for that matter, were kind of like writing it off and like laughing at it. And then he did it. And he did it so successfully, it sold out. Then he ran it back for $1,000 project, and that sold out again too. So with
$1,000,
$1,000 project, because at that point, it's not just about the music. Of course, they love the music. They can get the music still on streaming. It's not about that. It's about when you're a diehard, when you have diehards, if you never give them the opportunity to show why they're diehard, you'll never see it.
Pause. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Man, we got Florida calling up in here.
Shout
Let's
out
see.
to Florida.
Hello?
Hold on. Let me bring it your way, Danny.
Hello, hello.
Hello, you're on the Blockout Podcast. Curtis King in the building. Who's this?
This is Shada Che. What's going on?
Shada Che, what's good, fam? I know Shada Che.
What's good?
Appreciate you
What's
calling.
going on? I just wanted to tell you, no problem. I seen the number and nobody calling, so I'm like, why not?
That's my man. This is you got the DIYers and the day oneers right here.
Let's
This
go.
is the day. It sounds like
my
one.
guy.
That's
my
what I'm
house,
talking
yeah.
about, bro.
Definitely. Basically what I wanted to say, like I've been telling you, you've been an inspiration to everybody, even me.
Appreciate that.
My Instagram got pretty much stolen,
Yeah.
and I'm still following you on my new one.
Man, that's
That
love.
never happened.
That's love, bro.
And I have a new YouTube that I'm gonna start too.
Let's go.
You're an inspiration to anybody that basically watch you.
Man, I appreciate you.
Now, what's his name?
Shotta Che.
Shada
Che.
Shada Che. Do you rap or do you do hip hop? What is it you do?
I'm basically an engineer and a producer.
Dope. And how long you been following Curtis?
For a minute.
I can't even tell you.
That's what's up.
What I love about Shotta Che is every time he comes into the chat, he always asks, "But how are you doing and how's your family doing?" And I always appreciate that you know, a lot of times folks don't look at us on the other side as content creators, as human beings, or even as, you know, whatever. But I think that always keeping that human aspect is something that I'm always appreciative from Shotta Che.
That's your well-being right there.
Yeah, that means something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. And my IG is Mixed by Side Music. I just use Shotta Che because that's the YouTube I'm always on.
Okay.
Go on, get that shameless plug in, man.
Let's go.
Come on. What is it again? Shout it out. What is it?
Mixed by Side Music is my IG.
There it is.
Okay.
Shoot me a DM. Let me make sure I'm following that up. If I'm not already.
And I follow you on my YouTube page as well called Scientist Music.
Scientist
Same
Music.
person.
All right, man.
sir.
I'm gonna come your way. Look for some beats, man. Shit. Look for the email.
Let's go.
Oh, definitely. I was actually gonna join one of your critiques, and then just send you something I mixed for someone and a beat that I did.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be back next Monday for sure. Just let me know.
Well, tell Nas to say what's up. Tell the wifey blessings on blessings like always.
Will do. Thank you,
And
bro.
keep doing your thing. And you make me want to go stay off for streaming, really. To
Man.
be honest with you. I actually wanted to talk to you one-on-one if I could.
Yeah.
See how I could go about it. Because I have artists that's under me.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically want to build something for them to where they can come and have their music as a DIYer, basically.
I'll say this.
Using,
I'll say this. Short answer. Tomorrow's interview with Kayla Love is going to set you up in the right direction with that. So come join us tomorrow on the channel with Kayla Love, because she has something that I think is going to be really interesting for that artist that you represent for sure.
I saw that. And brother, before we let you go, a favor for a favor, go on and hit that subscribe button while you're here and you watching right now. Get that like, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, come on. You ain't even look.
It's
man,
only right.
To be honest, if you messing with Curtis King on the long way,
Yeah.
from God knows when, I'm
Yeah.
following you.
I appreciate
Keep
that.
it genuine.
Yes, sir.
Just keep it genuine and keep and do family right, man.
That's
There
it.
is, always.
All love, man. I appreciate
thank you
you.
for calling in.
Good meeting you
All
too,
love,
bro. I can't wait to come out to Florida, man, one day. It's been a minute. But appreciate you, man.
Definitely.
There it is. Man, thank you for calling.
Take care of yourself, brother. All right, man. That's dope.
Crazy. Yeah.
Shit, man.
But I think it's so like you said, relatable. Like, cause you know you're real. Like, you know, obviously I just met you right now, but like it's people like you that people like us need to keep that motivation going.
I appreciate
You know, like and I try to, you know, be as humble as I could, cause you know, like you know, I'm doing this shit, the podcast shit, what we wanted to do, but it's like, you know, you also gotta like remember, like just be you, still be you, you know.
You know, something I heard about humility, because I used to have a weird relationship with the word humility because somebody presented it the wrong way. They was like, you know, humility is being meek and being like, they were kind of describing it in a weak way. And I was like, I saw something a few days ago and it said, you can't be humble unless you know your power. You can't be humble unless you know your power. And so when I hear that now, it carries a different meaning, because
What does that mean to you?
so for me, that means that there's certain situations where I know somebody has talked out of pocket with you, but you knew that based upon the platform that you have, based upon the way that you know to defend yourself, based upon whatever it was advantages you had,
Right.
you chose humility. But you can choose that because you have the power, and there exists another side. I think that that's people always look at me and think like,
Does that mean like my actions speak louder than what I'm gonna say to you right now? Like I ain't gotta worry about you.
Not even in a threatening way. I look at it as just like recognizing that. So, for instance, my image for the most part, I think, depending on where you met me in my career, for some people it may be squeaky clean. They may have no idea of the places that I've grown up and that I've been at and the situations that I've gone through, even when you read in a book. But only reason I could be this presence of light or this beacon of light is because I know my dark side. I know it well, but I can only know that like the light is not the absence of darkness. It's me recognizing that exists. So it's like you can't call somebody a wholesome individual unless they're a whole individual. So when I look at the word humility, I look at that and say, that's not you being weak or talking down upon your skill set. No, that's you recognizing who you are, but also not leading with your ego.
Right.
So, like, I do appreciate that.
Wise words from Curtis King, man. I appreciate that. Shout out to the super chat, just in case some of y'all don't think we live, because sometimes I don't pay attention to you here, which we normally do.
Let me jump in
Our
here
co-hosts do that, but yeah, we're live right now. Again, the number is 951-293-4180. Shout outs to let's see here. I'm seeing some new faces in here. They got to be coming from your channel. CE Said Dweller.
Said the Dweller. Shout out my guy, Said the Dweller. I be remembering my folks' names, man. That's my people because I talk to them every day. So it's like they know what I be going through. I know what they go through too. So it's a beautiful thing when you have a community that you commune with one another.
I'm gonna give you another name who's been a fan of you, who's been asking for you to get on this podcast forever. Tone Burrito, man.
Shout out to Tone, man. Hey,
like,
let me tell you about Tone, man. Like, Tone was there during periods where I just stopped rapping, right? I focused all on production. Tone was there, like, reminding me, yo, there's somebody here. Because, I don't want to speak for you, but because, I feel like you've had such a legendary career. It's different for you, but for me, it's like there's certain periods of time where if I disappear, now it's a little bit different, but there's been years before if I disappear, like, ain't nobody, like, beating down my door except for my peers. But Tone was always the person that no matter what was going on in life, he was like, I want to check up on you, but I also want to remind you that your art is missed. Your rapping.
That's that
missed.
guy. I've had the same combo.
Man.
I ain't left nowhere, but I went away for a couple months.
Yeah.
Tone's always been there. Yo, ODM, when y'all coming back, this and that, or just encouraging, or any of my our supporters that creatively come with shit. He's one of those too. Y'all should do this, or you should have this. If there's a T-shirt, and I ain't saying merchandise. I notice I say that for last. If there's anything, bits and pieces that he knows where that money's going, and that's to feed these kids on the table too. And I know that's why he does that. So salute to Brito and cats like you. Let's take another call. I don't want to miss this call.
Shout out my guy.
Let's see here. Yep. You're on the Blockout Podcast right now, live with Curtis King. Who's this?
What's good? My name is McAdoo Music.
Hey, McAdoo.
What's uppers? Welcome, brother.
God.
The myth, the legend.
What's
Y'all,
happening?
McAdoo, man.
Nah, man. Listen, man. Curtis King is the legend, man. Let me tell you, man. That's my guy, man.
Nah, I'm gonna
Straight
tell you.
up,
I'm
man.
gonna tell you about McAdoo.
Great to have him on, man.
I'm gonna tell you about McAdoo real quick. You gonna try to play like, oh, he just, I appreciate the love. McAdoo used to pick me up. McAdoo used to pick me up from the high desert to go to. We was part of League of Stars. McAdoo picked me up and was like, man.
Sir.
He was like, man, like, Curtis, I believe in what you're doing. He was going in for himself as a producer, but he was like, I believe in it. He's like, man, we got to get out of here. Driving from the high desert over to Hollywood and just talking about what this is going to be for.
How many years was this back?
This
I
is
like to put times.
What year was that? Probably like 2000. What? When was I'm out here trying to function? When was that? I'm faded.
Oh shit, that whole Bay Area movement, yeah.
2010.
Clyde Carson,
2010.
2010, yep.
So that's about 2010. That's when
the Ratchet movement days, yep.
Yeah. That's when they had all those League of Stars. I was part of League of Stars for a second with this gentleman right here. And
What?
Yeah. But I was on the end of the bench because I was a sample based producer. I didn't know how to make them Ratchet records.
Yeah, that was popping. Shout outs to Mustard, man. Mustard on the beat, yo. That's all we hear every other record.
Yeah.
So Mathadu's a rapper?
Let me tell you about
Producer.
Oh, no, man. I'm a producer, Curtis King. My guy he came through the studio with remember the broken laptop, my guy?
Yeah,
I remember. I was like, yo, this dude.
That's my baby Frankenstein.
Because the laptop was broke.
I had a laptop.
He still made it happen, dog.
I remember I had that laptop with the broken neck on it, where I'd have to shake it a few times for it to come on. Had to hold the screen.
We've been there.
Man.
Oh, man, that was wild.
That was a wild time.
That was amazing.
Man, I remember.
Man, I'm so proud of you, though, my guy. Because I'm like, I hear your quotes on like all kind of videos. I mean, I'm talking about stripper videos. I'm talking about everybody.
Say what? Shit. Hey, the ratchet's still jogging.
Like,
the ratchet's still jogging.
This shit is crazy, like dog. This shit, he's our Tony Robbins, bro.
Man, that's crazy.
He's like that's motivational, crazy. Man. Like, and it's like, yo, my dude's from the IE, bro. Like, he's worldwide with the motivational shit.
Come on, man.
Hey,
I appreciate you, bro.
On, man. That's a blessing, man. I done seen this dude just elevate, man. Like every year it seems like you elevating, bro, and that's a beautiful thing. I'm inspired, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm very inspired by your situation.
Appreciate
and much success to you, my guy. You already know.
Love.
We gotta link up soon. We got to for real link up soon too. Next time you out of my area, all right?
Hey, brother.
Hell yeah, man. You already know, bro.
Hey, Matthew, dude, pleasure to meet you, dog. Thank you for coming by the channel, man. And hopefully,
hey,
you know.
You too, man. You a legend, man. You know that. IE 991. You already know all that.
Appreciate it.
I ain't got to run down your resume.
Sure, man. Well, go do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button there. We try to get to Curtis King level, bro.
Subscribe button. Just hit
Give us video a like. Does that sound corny?
No, I do it all the time.
That's not corny. That's a reminder.
It's only corny to the folks that don't got subscribers. That's what I learned. That's only corny to them because they don't want to. We don't care. I
don't care.
I'd tell you. You know, back when it was Ratchet still jocking.
Yes,
I wasn't afraid to say, even though I'm feeling bummy with no money in my pockets.
The Ratchet's still jocking.
Like that's the transparency is gonna always be here. But bro, I just want to say how much I genuinely appreciate you. Cause yeah, man, picking me up for them studio sessions was a very humbling time, very difficult time. But man, you brought some peace and solace to that time, and I appreciate you for that.
Nah, you already know, bro. Man, I just want to tap in and say what's up, man. Cause this is so IE. What's going on right now?
No, for real.
Crazy. It is so IE.
Man,
what did he say? This what?
He said it's so. He said what's happening right now. So IE.
So IE.
This is so IE.
Yes, sir.
So IE.
I love it.
And I love it though, man. You know, hey man, I'm a listener, producer, father, all that good stuff, man. I just want to shout out both of y'all, man. Keep doing your thing. Continue success. You feel me?
Appreciate you, man. Yes, sir.
Soon, bro.
Mouth of Duke. Take care, bro.
Hey, for sure, man. Y'all be cool, bro.
You too.
Peace.
I love it.
That's dope. Shout outs to Crazy Hood Media, man. Curtis King's beats is dope. He has legendary tag. You ain't buy this beat though. Ask him about it. What is that, bro?
See, you stick around the internet long enough, you have things people know you for. Some people know me for this. I had a tag one time where I got tired of people stealing my beats when I was selling beats online, and I was like, what's a way that I can embarrass a rapper that steals a beat while they on stage? I was like, instead of putting Curtis King beats every 5 to 10 seconds, what if I put, why you didn't pay for this beat though? Why you didn't pay for this beat though? Damn, it sound good. Why you didn't pay for this beat though? I was like, I dare you to rap over that shit. And then guess what happened? Kodak Black rapped over it.
Wait, was this a track that you produced?
No, this is a tag. It's literally my voice saying, why you didn't pay for this beat though? And I put it out for free for producers to use to protect their beats.
That's
one
genius,
producer did it. One producer did it, and Kodak Black rapped over it, and it said, "Why you didn't pay for this beat?" He said, "Because I'm a motherfucking robber."
Is that what he said? Oh shit!
I did a whole video on it. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
You reacted to it?
Of course, you know I did. You know I ain't gonna waste no content. That was hilarious. It was funny because we just had a baby shower the day before, so you see a bunch of diapers and stuff in the background.
Yeah,
all kind of gifts. But yeah, that was crazy. That was a period of time where we. I was like, "Why you didn't pay for this beat though?" I was like, "I dare you to rap at an open mic over this."
Holy shit. That's hilarious. Look at everybody right here, man, just busting up.
They know the vibes. They know the vibes.
Facts. That's the story I wanted to hear. I'm a longtime supporter from the beat community.
Man.
Yeah, Crazy Hood Media. He does a lot. He covers a lot of the shit that's going on, you know, just in the podcasting world. Podcasting realm.
Yeah.
If you will. Shout outs to Crazy Hood Media. What's popping, dog? Shit, man. What else? Yeah, you mentioned. I was going through some of your music, and you mentioned Art LeBeau in one of your lyrics, man. That bugged me the fuck out.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, you really either have to be IE to know about that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, this fool, he goes, what was it on? I wrote it down. It was, I think I'm Art LeBeau. You said it on the Common Ground song.
Yeah.
You said, man, I got so many requests. I think I'm Art LeBeau. Real quick. It was just real quick.
Come on.
And I was like, that's so fucking, because to the Art LeBeau, we know he's a legend to everybody and everybody's eyes, but especially the Latino community, bro. And that one line right there, you don't even understand. The motherfucker who wasn't a fan just became a fan of your shit, just because you put Art LeBeau. And we just did that on Sunsets on the West Side. I said, rest in peace, Art LeBeau, because man's a legend. But that shit was just super cool, bro.
You know what's crazy? Like, I'm working with this producer named Iman Amari, and he's challenging me to dig into those stories that, for whatever, I don't know why I didn't share these stories. Not that I was embarrassed of them, but because I never wanted to like exploit these stories as like validating who I am. These are part of my relationships. Like, I came up, shout out my boy Masewa, who used to stay in Southgate, and that was my best friend through my last years in high school. Him and C's, they put me on to so much, and Art LeBeau was one. He taught me how to use FL Studio, matter of fact. He was a sample-based producer. He taught me about Aslan. He was like about Brown Pride. He taught me about so much.
He was Mexican?
Yeah.
What was his name?
He went by Masewa.
Masewa.
Fire artist and rapper.
Name.
He put me on, but he would give me like, the thing we connected on was I knew about the Black Panthers. So he would put me on about, like just different cultures and whatnot that he was studying. And so with him giving me that game, he would put me on a different artist, and he would introduce me to this. And so we just had back and forth exchange. But that was my dog, to where like we would listen. Like I would go visit him after we graduated from high school, and I go pick up a 411. We had some McDonald's, and we just like, it sounds funny, but like we would have like the most racist jokes for each other. That's how we bonded.
Wait, what's a 411?
411. You know the 411, 211. Excuse me, 211, not 411.
Oh, okay.
That's if you drink two of them.
I was
211. No, 211. The 211.
Like you stole some shit?
No. The
Wait,
211.
is that the Pinot code for some shit I don't know about?
It was the Four Locals, the 4 Locals, and the 211s, bro.
Oh,
it was
okay.
that era.
I know the 4 Locals.
It was the 4 Locals and the 211s, and we had those with the
I used to
the
put
McDonald's.
motherfuckers on their back.
But like,
You drank the 4 local 211s with McDonald's? Or you ate first?
Whatever that liquor store had.
Whatever order it went in.
I went to Downey for a little bit. I went to Downey High School for a little bit. I was at Paramount High School. So it was like I always had homies. I always had Mexican homies, Latino ones. I always had though. There was always like, and then when they look at me, they don't know if I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
They be like, I don't know. But
he lied shit.
He's some. But nah, I tell you this, it's something that I'm being more transparent about sharing in my music, because it's like, nah, that's why when you hear things like that, it may be a surprise based upon the characters that they know. But there's so many stories that I'm like, I never thought to sit down and write those, because I'm like, it's just that's so much a part of my fabric in my life that it's like I don't want to ever have them homies hit me up like, don't be using me for your punchlines.
Hey, fool, I gave you that.
Hey, fool, yeah, exactly. Don't be using me for your damn punchlines. But not like I need to share those stories, because it's part of what makes me a complex individual, is that I'm not just this one thing. I don't look like what a lot of people categorize as like when you think of West Coast legends, right? You think about the branding of West Coast legends. I don't always see myself as fitting that avatar, but so much of my story, so much of what I came up on is entrenched in this culture that I love. And so I think the more that I lean in on that and talk about that, the more that I'll surprise more people, I believe.
We're talking about your music right now. Curtis King in the building. Shout out to everybody watching this on the playback. Comment down below what you've gotten from this video and all that shit, and subscribe. Tell them again. Share to somebody, especially this podcast, this specific one. Somebody needs to hear that shit, man.
Yeah.
I kind of touched upon it a little bit, man, but more of the IE, bro. Just the cats that you grew up with. I mean, I'm hearing like Sonny Babel. I see that in the comments. I've checked for him. There's another cat I always mix up Sonny Babel with. He's from San Bernardino, There's just so much talent out there. And a lot of these cats I just applaud, and every now and then I'll pop up in their DMs, say, hey man, Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Your shit's sounding great. Who were some of the other cats, man, that we could shout out? I mean, I've known I did a few of the OGs, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Dirty Birdie gonna always be one of my favorites.
Dirty Birdie, tweet.
That's gonna always be that. But Sonny Babble's another one. Trez is another one. Man, definitely want to send a rest in peace to my guy Chris King, because he was somebody else that was he's born in Fontana. He was somebody that emerged out of the scene and did a lot of great things. A younger artist.
What about Dr. Stank?
Of course. Like
Stank, I know you've been trying to get on here, bro. Hey, we opening the door now with Curtis.
Of course.
Let's go. We're making our way.
Radio bass, man. It's so many folks out here that
Sly Boogie,
of course. I mean, all the OGs. I think that's already
that's like my era.
I thought
though.
you was asking me like about the younger artists coming up. Yeah.
Okay, well let's go there. Let's go there. I'll shout out the old one. You do the new ones.
No, all the OG like that's without a doubt. No, not even a conversation about that.
I just want my audience, the older ones who don't know about the OGs, also they get connected, bro. Because the IE, as you know, we have to struggle every now and not only use the word struggle, we're challenged by other markets.
You know what I noticed about the IE? Because I feel like I got a unique perspective in that. I had so many years in LA. When I came out to the IE, I remember having conversations with folks, and it dawned on me that sometimes you could be so close to gold that you don't know it's gold anymore. When I came out here, I recognized like ain't no other parts of California that look like out here. At the time, it was so many venues that we had access to. It was so many diverse cultures, diverse skill sets, and also too, it wasn't just rap. It was clothing brands, it was candle brands, it was mom and pop shops, and all these different things. And I looked at that, and I'm like, that's where culture happens. That's where culture currency is built. So what I noticed in coming out here is that the more that you start seeing the artists and these other different entities embrace, man, the more valuable it is. I'll tell you this, though. I'm a DIYer, and I think a lot of my DIY culture obviously comes from my origins in Carson, but IE put steroids in that. They put that on crack. Because when I came out here, I recognized that being a do-it-yourselfer wasn't that special. Everybody a DIYer. My shout out to my guy Chris GOK, Glamorous Living Kids. Like, he has his own clothing brand, and my guy does artwork for Disney, right? When I think about shout out to my guy Rick, who used to have a brand called BBI, and he's doing amazing things in LA. And it's like, these are the folks that I look at.
Rick Montano?
Yeah, these are the folks.
Shout out to Barely Broke Internet.
I look at them and I'm like, y'all inspire me to go outside of my comfort zone as an artist, and I can't make no excuse for making like some cheap ass artwork. Or I look at those dudes and they keep me on my square. So
did you mention Nick Mayfield?
Nick Mayfield, yeah,
Commander.
Yeah, I just talked to him about a month ago. So like when I think about all those creative brains that are out here, I think that part of it is just their own individual upbringings, but I think a big part of it is it's just the way that the IE is set up that breeds that type of energy. It's a lot of transplants that come here and they find their footing because it feels like home. This is the first place that outside of Carson felt like home. So when I came out here and I realized, like, for the things I used to get called weird about creatively out in LA and in Carson, I came out to the IE and they were like, then I guess we all weird. And that made me feel like it was home. So
that's what's up, dude. I couldn't put it a better way, man. So then we all weird together, motherfucker, because you know, like I just
no need to even rebrand it. I was gonna say one last thing. One thing about that is that all the artists in the IE, rappers, producers, clothing designers, whatever it is that you do, embrace the fact that you're from the IE. You don't have to move to LA to find greener pastures. Dog, you're living in your own gold mine. If you could see the things that somebody who came from outside this area and came into here, and I found a lot of success out here because I embraced, like, I wanted to know about, like, okay, well, tell me about what this scene was before this. Tell me about these early days of C4 and these early days of Dirty Birdie and what happened here. By building blocks and understanding these things, it made me say, okay, I understand the lineage in which I came a lot later into. I understand what I'm representing, but I had a sense of pride. And I don't always see that sometimes in my peers. I see it in a lot of them, but I don't always see it in that they say they're proud from where they're from, but the moment that somebody bats their eyes at them in L.A., they ready to leave and claim somewhere else. So I'm like, man, excuse my language, fuck that.
Yeah.
Embrace where you at, because there's no other place. I done been to 40 different cities around the U.S., and there ain't no place like home.
I thought he was about to say 40 Glock.
No, but I mean, 40 Glock too. Shout out to 40 Glock. Yeah.
Brother made it.
So no, it's a beauty when you know that your hometown is the cheat code. And I always feel like that about the IE, is that the things that make us weird are the same thing that make us trendsetters. The same things that they used to laugh at about the area, now they looking at it and be like, damn, we got to get some shit that sound like da-da-da-da. Look at
low key.
Look at old gosh, the Otis. Fantastic producer making waves out there as a producer. The homie Nobby and making waves out there as a producer. Hit Boy making waves. Like, they didn't need to go mainstream.
Facts.
They made mainstream go IE.
Ooh.
So
same thing with like athletes
too. Yeah,
the list goes on.
Kawhi Leonard.
One Love IE. My guy Richie with More Gems, More Wins. Like, if you look around, dog, there's enough gold to remind you why you don't have to go far to look for it. It's right here, and you got folks that are arm's reach, and you better reach out to them now before they remember that you didn't reach out to them, and they move on up. Like, embrace what we have here. I'd say that's the same thing I learned with LaRussell. Being out there in Vallejo, I know why he's loved so much out there, because he's looking around and he's like, what can I do for your small business? What can I do to help that? All right, I'm going to buy the first 1,000 smoothies for anybody that comes in here.
Because he can now.
Right? So, I know that the landscape is different out here, but at the same time, like, don't forget what makes us special out here. It may be the things that they criticize about us, but it's also the same things that they can't duplicate.
Shout outs to Sonny Babel. He's in the chat right now. Love you, man. I've grabbed so much game from Curtis over the years. I can't wait to work with him again and hopefully hop on this podcast as well.
Come on.
Always, man. We making our rounds. Matter of
fact.
Make
sure you subscribe.
But
make sure you subscribe. You hear me, Sonny?
It's free, damn it. I don't ask for much. See these lights? You're going to help them keep them on.
Come on. Subscribe.
And Lord knows how much that goes, costs, just to keep the lights on. But you know what, man?
It costs $1,000 to leave out the house now just to breathe.
Start with the gas tank, homie.
I saw the meme, the $20 is the new $1 or some shit like that,
I don't like that fashion statement. I don't like that fashion statement at all. It's the new dollar.
Yeah.
I went to Del Taco today. They said $30 even. I said, for what?
Bro. What have you done to them beans?
What did I get?
Yeah.
They got the employees at like $20 an hour now. Like, fuck.
I mean, get your bread. I'm glad you're getting your money, but, just don't hike up the price of my bread. That's all I want.
My little chili Fritos and shit.
You feel me? Nah. Let's get the chili Fritos. No chili, just fries.
Just fries.
Just give me that.
Salad fries. Cardinal salad fries.
Gotta watch. Yeah, that'll be fine. But I gotta watch.
I trip out on these like Mexican, like Taco Bell, and like all these. They're coming with like birria tacos. Like you wouldn't see that shit 30 years ago.
They had that little birria ramen taco.
Yeah, they're trying to like just. Let's put more Mexico in our fucking menu. No, you'll never be.
That's that Jeff Bezos way of doing business.
Yeah.
I read somewhere where Jeff Bezos put a diaper company out of business because they wouldn't sell to him. So he was like, all right, bet. We're going to start selling diapers on Amazon for cheaper and deliver them faster. So y'all got to go out of business. They said they lost money. Amazon lost money on that, but he's just petty enough to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Well, I read at least where if their page loads up like a fraction of a second slower, that's the difference between millions and millions of dollars. Like a segment.
Red? What is that?
If their website, which is white background, which usually with websites, those load up faster when they're white background. The reason why it loads so fast is because someone did the stats and said, I believe it's broken down to like milliseconds or whatever it is, that if it's off by a few milliseconds, That's the difference between millions and millions of dollars.
I believe that shit.
Somebody calculated
1000%.
that. So like they said, okay, we got to make sure that it loads up the fastest. If that means taking shit off the front page or whatever we got to do.
Shit matters. I remember when blogging came in, we had to do that shit for the radio station.
Oh, man.
They said, you know what? Make your blog, your page, whatever you decide to put on there, as simple as fucking possible. People don't want to read a bunch of shit, but bunch of pictures in here. Have a link to it, but just keep it short words and keep the background white. We don't want to see a bunch of visuals.
And if you ever get lost with that, especially as an artist, because it does apply to us too, excuse me. Look at Apple. Apple made all that money that they made. That has not made them go more complex with their design. You go to their website right now, it may be a floating laptop with a raindrop or something above it, and then you don't see anything else for a few slides down. Maybe the email opt-in, maybe a few. But when you look at that, you're recognizing that this is the way that they run it because
it's easy
there are
to navigate.
people who've done research. Like you could literally cheat years and years of testing by using that as a framework and then trying to understand, well, why do I like it? Well, it's easier on the eyes. Well, it's easier to load up. It looks good on mobile. All these kind of factors that I think go into it. But these are the things that I'm like, some people get bogged down over that. I get excited about that. I love just searching through fonts for no reason.
Yeah, oh my God, I'll be there all night, bro.
One of those.
I'll be like, just give me the trendy ones. Yeah, that works. Slap this on here.
Shout out to defont.com.
Right?
I love it.
Holy shit. And then you got all these other fucking Canvas, poster on my wall, fucking the list goes on and on.
Yeah, Canva.
Adobe
I do all my thumbnails on Canva.
Talk about it. Now you talked about a lot of and it's another thing I wanted to go to you, and I've gotten some like the ManyChat. I started using that again. I visited it for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
But I used it today. Like it was a reminder after I watched your video. I said, let me go back. So I did a little YouTube tutorial on it. And I was like, you know what? This shit is gonna help me a lot.
Right.
I did my live today before you got here, and
Fire.
I used ManyChat. I said, guys, can you just type watch in this live and let me know what happens? And I was like, better yet, I had my tab open and I just fucking refreshed it, and I had 10 right there. Away. I was like, fuck yeah, it's working.
You know what I like to call this, man? I shout out to Shock G. I like to say that he was a prophet when he called it. He said Digital Underground. He called the group Digital Underground. I feel like we're living finally in the Digital Underground.
He was ahead of that shit.
He was, because I look at this now and I'm like, what other era? I'm sure you could tell us stories that there wasn't no cell phone cameras around to capture these stories, stuff that.
Yeah, you wanna flip one, motherfucker? Hey, you want a chip one?
It's so heavy. I remember how heavy this was.
That shit.
Remember the beepers that was. Remember the see-through beepers. Remember those was like fancy. But that's what I'm saying. It's like we're living in an era now where every single thing has video to back it up, and there's so many stories that I hear where like. It just wasn't society wasn't at a place where folks pulled their phones out to take photos and videos, and the quality wasn't even that good.
Right.
But now we're in a time where we get to capture our own legends. We get to capture our own moments. And, you know, a lot of us be complaining about it, but it's like, dog, they've given us tools. I look at ManyChat. You talk about ManyChat. The fact that, you know, with social media, you got to be careful with certain words you use on an Instagram because they'll demote the content. They'll stop the reach. But if you utilize certain tools and stay up to date on what the algorithm is doing with these tools, you're able to just be like, I can go in there and say, yo, for anybody who's never heard this song, put a popcorn emoji. I had a project out recently called Home Movies.
Yeah.
Put a popcorn emoji, and instead of saying hit the link in bio, which they're usually not going to do, it just automatically sends them a DM that says, thank you for your interest. Here's the link.
Yep.
And it's a much better conversion rate because of that.
Let me grab this round.
Yeah,
I'm expecting a call, bro.
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate that, man. My business matters. Subscribe.
You got your rollover minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
I know that's not that era, but yeah.
I don't know about that shit. Youngsters, maybe you do. I got an older audience, so the rollover minutes.
Rollover minutes is crazy.
It's funny. Okay, so you brought up home movies, and it's been a great conversation thus far, but I do want to touch upon.
Me too, man.
No, I love it. I want to go into the cover because I saw you did a video. Somebody had called you out for biting somebody. They called you the B word. I thought they called you a bitch. And it was like, no, it ain't that B word.
It's the worst one.
It's
Don't ever call me a biter. That's how you know I'm part of my generation. That's how you know biter is worse than bitch. Don't you know what I'm saying? Don't call me that either. Don't get it twisted. But
can you pull up the website real quick, curtisking.com?
Yeah.
And it's Curtis with 2 S's. I mean, you probably knew that, but just in case. And then find his go to his music, and it should pop up. Because this is genius idea.
I appreciate it. CurtisKing.bandcamp.com is where the music is. Oh yeah, that shows it right there too. But
click on the left one, the Blockbuster movie one. So
yeah,
didn't a supporter come up with this? Help you come up with this?
I'm gonna spare his name, but this was a gentleman that I used to actually work with. He's a graphic designer, and he's a damn good one. He's a damn graphic designer, and he's a producer. And I thought everything was on the up and up, but our community sometimes is so small that we kind of make the assumptions that we're just taking ideas from each other. Here's the crazy part about when you're a content creator, people got to be careful what you accuse them of taking, because I document everything.
As you should.
And thank God that I had a live stream that showed me polling. I didn't even have a title of the project. All I had was the music, and I asked my audience, I said, can you help me come up with some names? I want it to be interactive. I want them to be a part of it. I want them to feel like they're a part of this moment.
Right.
And so I had names that I had, and they said, no, these are the names we have. And then out of nowhere, shout out to my guy Niles, who may be in here. He said, what about home movies? And you see the fireworks going on in my brain. I'm like, oh shit, home movies.
That's what I was talking about. You had a supporter suggest a title. So not the cover.
Now suggested the title, and I was like,
come back on here on the camera, dog, because I want to clip this.
Fam, so
I might.
No. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, home movies. And my brain just goes through this, like, it's funny because it's like the most 90s montage you see in movies where like somebody's life flashed before their eyes, and it's like all the fast videos. And I started thinking, like, home movies. Oh my God, I see blockbuster colors. Oh my God, I see myself going through the different aisles. I see the design of this. Ooh, what if I made it a VHS box? And so I'm doing this in real time, and I was so excited about the idea that I started designing it in the same live stream where I just finished the vocals for the project. That's how fresh it was. And so I put that whole thing together thinking that it was just going to be content that maybe I can use as like extra features on the deliverable. Ended up being something that saved my ass, because like no matter what, everybody thinks that you bit their idea. Everybody thinks that your idea is the original one. And it wasn't even the artist that did this. Shout out to Pause One. I love Pause One and what he does. He didn't even have any wind of it. The person put that on his radar and was like, we're cannibalizing each other's ideas in a scene. And I'm like, that is not what it is. But I'm glad that I had that footage, because it just showed the power of documenting what you do. And so I put out this project, man, home movies. Shout out to Cinematography, who's an amazing sample-based producer. He's worked with Blue and another artist named Cassius King. And he reached out to me with a bunch of boom bap beats. And I was like, dog, I've been rapping on these, pseudo boom bap, trapped out, just rapping on all this stuff. It was a long time since I've been on just straight boom bap sample bass, and it felt so good.
Yeah.
And so I told the story of when I told you I took a hiatus earlier this year. I told the story over these beats of, this is what I did to shut shit down so that I could recharge and get ready for this project release. And so I just told the story of like, damn, like here I am putting in so much work, but my family gets the broken down version of me. Here I am putting in so much work to make it look good for the YouTube and all of this stuff. Y'all not seeing the days where I wake up the next day and my neck pains and my back pains and sciatic nerve and all of this stuff. But my family's seeing it, and my son's looking at me like, why can't we go play catch? So I wanted to make sure I captured those moments, because I know those are relatable stories. And so I did it. The dope thing about it that kind of led into the project is that it's an 11-minute project, one song. All these different beat switches all the way through. I have a timestamp on the CD. I even gave you the CD here. But I wanted to give people an analog experience in a time that's dominated by digital.
Yeah.
So I made you have to listen to the whole thing instead of skipping like a DVD. You got to listen like a VCR, like a VHS.
Oh shit! It's not skippable.
You can't skip it.
One wave,
one track the way through.
Not even wave a track.
So it's a mini mix, pretty much a mini mix of things. But like you can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna listen to this song."
That's next level. That's genius shit.
But I can't take credit for it. Cinematography had already done this with Blue and Cassius, and I
want to say this, man. Let me explain. And this is where I relate to this. It goes back to where like let's go back to the sampling days. You know, everybody back then, you know, now there's all kinds of apps, software you can fucking, there's creators making.
AI now.
There's that. There's Splice. There's all these other fucking tools that people are making for these websites, which charge you something because somebody at home knows how to play a guitar, and they're just making all these risks for you. That's your way of sampling nowadays. Our way of sampling was records, vinyls, whatever. We go to a record store, we sit there, we put the needle on the record, we listen with headphones. Boom, I'll buy this record because I'm gonna go home and sample the shit out of it. We had the same energy come from a couple of artists where we sampled, I think it was, and you guys could do the homework. We did a Hey DJ.
Okay.
Malcolm McLaren.
Okay.
I had somebody come for us after I produced that one, try to say, oh, motherfucker, you know, oh, he bit that shit from me and this and that. I showed so-and-so at this part. Well, I'm not so-and-so.
Yeah, right.
It may have been maybe you should go check so-and-so.
She go talk to so-and-so.
For maybe they mentioned it to my ear. However I got it. And there was another scenario to where there was another group that came out right when we came out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just so happened. What I'm trying to say is that, guys, I have access to the same records, oldies,
right,
old school funk, hip hop records as you do too. Is it a coincidence that maybe we just sampled the same song at the same time and nobody bit it?
Sure.
I will mention a song because we didn't have beef over it, and here's one I can mention. Another one is Hell of a Sunday Afternoon. Was, you know, Smokey Robinson. Hell of a, there's a group called Brotherhood Creed. If y'all look that up, it's the same fucking sample. It's just a little faster. The BPM's faster. And everybody was like, you know, we was going for ads at the same time. Mm-hmm. Ads is when you go to radio stations, you try to get your record added on their playlist. Right. And we would come to town. We both had the same record at the same time. Oh, record labels or companies, radio stations were like, should we add Lighter Shade of Brown? Should we add Brotherhood Creed? Some of them couldn't add it. So if this radio station didn't add it, then the other one would add it.
Go negotiate.
And then it's just you battle against it. But anyway, that was just radio station wars with that music and just happened to be that sample. But I never frowned on that because I knew as a producer what it is to be a producer and where I get my music from. It's the same fucking bowl you get your shit from. How many times was More Bounce to the Ounce sample back in the day to this day? How many times was James Brown sample before they finally put a leash on that shit and started, you know, getting smart? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I was going to say, I think that's because I'm with you. I'm a sample-based producer, and I came up in an era where that was an extension of what you're already talking about, in that we're finding these records, these hidden gems, or we're flipping them in ways that nobody even thought of. That's where I came up on. But I will say, it took me a while to embrace this idea of royalty-free samples that are made by musicians that are able to capture that sound.
Yeah.
It took me finding people like, shout out to Mulate, who's actually, every sample that's on this Home Movies project, he created these samples as melodic compositions, not loops, but melodic compositions that cinematography sample. So the sound sounds exactly like that. It has the same texture. They're able to create, like with all the plugins, the RC20s, they're able to duplicate a lot of the characteristics of a vinyl. Nothing feels like vinyl. Nothing will ever be like sample. That's why I still got a track lib account. But they're able to get pretty damn close, and to the point where they're never going to come for you. And I just feel like we're at a place now because of because of AI, where it's easier to find the records that are being used, and they're even more aggressive because of the economy we're in. So it's almost like we don't even have the same, it's more dangerous now to get out here riding dirty with samples. And so I had to like low-key kind of embrace, even with Splice. But the thing about it is there's a difference between, same way when you got a sample, there's a difference between making the sample your identity and knowing how to flip it in a way that only your identity could have existed.
Exactly.
Right? We think about Jay Dilla. Don't nobody be flipping it the same way as Jay Dilla. Jay Dilla he made it his own.
His own.
And so I think that that's something I still take pride in. A lot of the younger producers that I meet don't necessarily care about that kind of stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, I look at that.
They don't.
But I look at that.
That's the problem. But
it is a problem, but it also makes me look at it like, I'm going to shut my ass up then. Because I could be angry at them, or I could just do it better than what I see.
That's where I'm at too. That's where I'm at too.
I'm just like, you know what? You got it figured out. Don't even worry about it.
I came back in the game after 23 years of radio.
Right.
And I started producing. You see it right here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got my little setup, whatever. And I could not believe, number one, the prices that these
the
cats
prices
was
are
just
nasty.
selling their beats for. And I said, are you kidding me? I said, okay, licensing was one thing. I had to get over that. I'm like, how you license a beat and then somebody else could just come license that same? How is it theirs? It's the same fucking beat. Whoever owns it? Well, there's an exclusive package you can pay for, and it's your beat. I go, man, that shit don't make sense. But I'm like, okay, well, I start learning more and more. Then I'm like, well, shit. Maybe I got to adjust my prices now because of the game, because it's like the dopest dope dealer had the game sold up and everybody else just started slanging and they're just shortcutting the fucking market. It's like everything else in this world. But, you know, it's like, well, either you play the game or you just figure, still know your value. And this goes for people that just that have been doing it. You know, I still know my value, but it's like, okay, I know that if I go to a certain level of tier that then I might just get overlooked too, which is okay. Right. But then at the same token, you got to humble yourself as well too. And you see these apps that are accessible and how easy these drag and drop producers are. That some of them to the point getting fucking Grammys for them by using drag and drop methods. I'm going, now I see why you're making beats in 10 minutes. And I'm going, fuck, dude.
But I'm not with that either. I'm not with that.
Because we're from an era, bro, it's like tangible just with the CDs alone to the DSPs. But then now you got the production. I'm learning that side, and I'm going, really? It's like this? Like, yeah, dog. Like, and I'm like, man.
Yeah, but I think that's where I go back to that whole idea of the digital underground, is that we get to show our process to a much larger audience anytime we want to. Pull that camera out, put it on a tripod, and get to work. Because you'll have a young producer that may not say something in your live stream. You're the first person to show him that there's a different way to do this. Right. Because if you've been looking at the YouTubers in this space who never had any OGs to teach them another way to do it, that's been his quote-unquote OG or whatever. But it's like, that's something I had to recognize too, is that I got into the YouTube space thinking that everybody in here loved music as much as I did. I was sorely mistaken. I talked to a lot of these dudes, and I'm like, y'all love money more than you love the music. 1,000. And it shows in the music. And that's something that I don't care if it was YouTube. I don't care if it was at the Vibe. I don't care where it's at. You and I would never get along because we don't see the art the same way. Like you said, blood, sweat, and tears went into this. And I shouldn't even say blood, sweat, and tears went into this. Blood, sweat, and tears are going into this still. That doesn't stop, because this is not I can't turn this off, and I can't turn passion off. I can't turn this off. This is a part of my DNA. But I'll tell you this. The beautiful thing about it now is that you as ODM get to go into space and say, this is my price. This is my price. And if you don't want to pay that, that's fine. But this is my price. You're not going to get this sound anywhere else. What I learned is that the more that I walked into that, and I'm like, nah, this is Curtis King's price. As long as I had some other money coming from somewhere else, like the content, it allowed me the freedom to say, that price is that price, bro. Like that's not changing. People always came back. They always came back, and they just made it an investment that they knew it's going to be different if I go do business over here. So some people may try to put that as being stubborn. I look at that and I'm like, no, that's just sticking to your guns. And that's something that, unfortunately, a lot of younger producers and artists that I meet, they don't know what that means, because there's so many directions they're getting pulled in that are telling them this is the right way, this is the wrong way. Oh, this is the... What about your way? You'll never know your way until you're ready to get out here and try some things. I think it's always funny, too, when I think about producers. You know, I'm not making nearly as much producer content as I used to. I'm completely out that space now. But I think what was really interesting is that I would just observe producers in the community, and they would like downplay somebody who tries something different until that person got a placement. Then all of a sudden you see 50 videos pop up about how to do that thing that they used to laugh at. When I saw that, I was all I had to see. I was like, follow your own course, make your own mistakes, fail as loudly as you succeed, and people will still forget about the failures. But have the audacity. Like I remember Seth Godin said, the difference between you and I is not the millions that I have. It's that I had more chances to play this game and fail more than you.
Humble.
Heard that, I was like, bet.
And I hear you talk about that in your YouTube videos, bro. It's like, man, I've accepted being laughed at. I've accepted being criticized and all that. But I mean, that's okay. Like, but my failures lead to this.
What
know?
Think about it like from me recently.
If any.
I'm about to say if any, right? Even with the whole streaming thing, I had a real heart-to-heart. Like with God, I was like, is the admission fee for me to get on this ride to the next level all the ridicule I'm about to receive? Is this the admission fee? I said, if this is the admission fee, I'm ready to pay it. Go ahead, take your shots. Go ahead and punch me in the face. Do all that. Say all. I got crucified, dog. And now I look up. Pharrell put out an album direct to consumer. Kanye put out an album direct to consumer on his website. Eminem just put out his project pre-order direct to consumer on his website. Not so crazy. I was just early. Wasn't crazy. I was early, but I stuck to my guns, and now people are seeing what I saw just very, very early. But that was the admission fee. And how dare me be the first person that gets to go to the next level without getting punched on? How dare me think that I'm above that shit? No, even at year 20 and what I'm doing, I can still catch that, and that's cool. And I take pride in it now because it's like I took those shots, and now like look, okay,
paying off. Yeah,
it paid off. It paid off.
You got La Russell calling your ass saying, when was that La Russell interview? By the way, was that before January this year?
I have to look again.
Like 6 months ago, maybe? 7? We could
Not
be longer
6
than that.
months ago. You know what? It was probably, I want to say like in October, maybe?
When did you film it? Oh, last year. Definitely filmed it last year.
Definitely last year.
So it's fair to say that, well, you probably saw it coming anyway, but when you saw that Spotify was going to raise its, or not raise it, but like, you know what I'm saying?
You know what pissed me off?
They was only going to give artists so much for their streams.
Yeah, that threshold shit. My thing is like, it's almost like working at a job where you're already not getting paid what you should be getting paid. I've had that at Quiznos, where I'm doing work that I should, like, I remember it was closed down now, so I can say this. Remember the owner would tell me, like, he would call because he would watch from his laptop. He would watch us working night shift, and he would call. He's working in Carson at Quiznos, and he was like, "Dewan, could you get that cookie off the top of the oven, and could you mop there, but could you clock out first?" And then I do that, and I'm like, all right, whatever, clock out. And then he'd be like, oh, before you leave, could you do this and could you do that? And I'm like, now you're getting free work. It's like, it's bad enough you're not paying me what I'm worth. But if your next direction financially is to make me work for what I was already getting underpaid for,
got you.
Respectfully, fuck y'all. Like I'm not finna hang around and let you play me. You're already paying 0.003, which is crazy when I think about how much money, looking at your gear now, how much money this shit is. Guitar
But you proved that, though.
Guitar Center not accepting 0.003 for them damn monitors.
No,
like,
they're not.
But then again, they're wondering why these Sam Ashes are closing down. Over 100-something Sam Ashes. They're closing down because what if you left the musician and the artist to make money off of? You want an artist that comes in here and is specializing in making music to then specialize in making merchandise. Now they're a clothing brand. You want them to specialize in touring and learning how to sell themselves in that space. Some of these folks are just coming straight out of their mama's house or out of they home studios, and now you putting them on a stage, and it's like everybody wants you to make money off of everything except for music. But my thing is this: everybody keeps telling you how there's no money in music, but how is there a music industry? If there's no money in music, how is there a music industry? Because everybody else around music is making money except for the musicians. I saw a stat that said musicians, engineers, people that put hands to the actual music only take home about 12% of what music generates. 12%. So you mean that we put hands to build this fucking house and we can only afford to stay in the bathroom of this mansion? All these folks that got jobs up there at Spotify that get to put folks on playlists. Yeah, your job is playlisting. Cool for you. That's cool. You're doing this. Good. I'm glad that you exist for these people. But if there's no music, what do you have?
Yep.
So my thing is like, I take the arrows. Wow. All of us got to. All of us.
That's crazy. Look at it that way, bro. Like you're the fucking creator, the artist. You have the idea. You have the. No, you're working to build it. The hands.
And you gonna go the opposite direction and create a sales quota, and you want me to get excited about it because it's competitive? I'm not in competition with none of these folks. I'm trying to run a business, and then on top of that, you're not gonna give me the one thing every business needs, every small business needs: emails. You're not giving me my data on my listeners. But then I came to find out, and I don't have to go into all of this, that's a whole other conversation, but then it come to find out, I don't believe that most of the numbers that exist on Spotify currently, I'm going to say allegedly, I don't believe those are real human beings. I think that they're one of the only platforms that benefits off of showing you these vanity statistics. Apple Music doesn't do it. They do that to spike off the dopamine of artists to keep on pumping out their Spotify links. But the messed up thing about it now with this whole threshold thing, you could have, for example, I saw someone talk about this the other day. You could have 250 songs that all get 1,000 streams. 250 songs that all get 100 streams, excuse me. And I forget how he broke it down the math. But basically, it could all account to 250,000 streams that you wouldn't get paid for because every one of them don't have 1,000 streams. So these folks have created a system in which they're figuring out ways to take money out of the pocket of the artists that build the foundation of what they're doing, that distribute their music over there. Then they figured out how to take 150 million from the songwriters by literally bundling up different services, Spotify specifically, different services they bundled up. I'm just looking at this decision making and I'm like, this is not artist friendly. You are making decisions for your business. Well, you know what? I got to make decisions for my business too.
Right. You know what YouTube? Okay, you know what Spotify is doing. It sounds like a repeated thing of what YouTube did maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe even longer, to where they said they went from they're cleaning house is what they're doing.
Sure.
You don't have 1,000. Guess what? You ain't getting paid or whatever.
Right.
You know, YouTube had a thing to where. I better be careful what I say. But I will say this: a certain platform,
right?
With a Y and a T. No, they said they cut off. Used to be able to get on YouTube with 0 subscribers, 1 subscriber, and be able to get monetized.
Right.
Or I think it was monetized, or to have your own URL name.
Right.
And a couple other things.
Right.
Then I found out it was you had to have. It went to 100, I think, and then it went to 1,000 or something crazy. I don't remember the numbers, but they raised the bar just kind of like what Spotify's doing right now. And to me, that just sends me a message like, okay, I got to look at it on their side. Maybe they're doing it because they want to save space. I don't know, bandwidth or whatever in their servers, or they only want to deal with the serious YouTubers that are serious about that, not the ones that do 2 videos and then they leave their shit up and it's up for years and they're not providing content. You're not the ones we want to do business with. We want to do ones with the Curtis Kings, that post every day. We want to, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, and I get that. As a business owner myself, I have empathy for these hard decisions that are having to be made. But I think they just have such a messed up history of screwing over creatives while their CEO sits up there and like kind of like laughs at the situation. Like I heard him say years ago about if you're an artist that takes 3 to 4 years to make an album, you're going to struggle on our platform. So you're openly admitting that people who spend time because they're focusing on quality will lose to people who focus on quantity at the sacrifice of quality. Then he tweets the other day, why aren't artists making more timeless music? Well, you should have. You created a platform that, like, I look at it, I'm like, you're playing in our face. So I understand with YouTube, I understand that there's different calculations that must be there. But my thing is this: let's just make it to music, right? Content creation is a different space. Music, I don't think I have the right to tell any artist who's serious and who's not serious about what they're doing. And I feel like if you create a product that generates traffic, that means something to you as Spotify. To go from compensating them something to nothing, although the economy is like, even the whole way the whole thing is set up as a pie system, in that they pay out as a pie system. Let's just say there's only $500 million that is available to distribute amongst everybody. They pay out the most to the people who represent the people who are getting billions of streams, like the Taylor Swifts, the Kanye Wests, the Adeles, and they get the largest slice of the pie. Everybody else gets smaller. So I could listen to you and say, I'm only listening to ODM. I'm only going to support what I love from ODM. I could listen to you and say it accounts for 500 streams is like $10 or whatever. Let's just throwing out numbers. You're going to only see $2 to $3 of my money that I could play your music, only your music. Because of the pie system, the rest of that goes to Taylor Swift, it goes to Drake, it goes to anybody else who represents a bigger pie. So I look at that and I'm just like, you're not building a system for people to have sustainable careers through your platforms, but you're positioning yourself as, if you don't have us, you don't have a career.
Do you think this is kind of like the record labels back in the day?
I think it's the exact thing. I think it's
They're
exactly
doing the same
what's
thing?
happening. It's just now,
Like, you need us.
but look what's happening now with the emergence of AI. Look at this slick shit they're doing. So there's a dude named Johan Rohr, who's a musician, ironically, who lives in Sweden, the same place that Spotify is in. He's accounted for over 650 different profiles on Spotify with different names. They know about this because he's on Spotify playlists. He's accumulated more streams than Michael Jackson. More streams than ABBA, right? They know about this. They've even had articles that have come out on Music Business Worldwide that showed that they put out fake artists into the environment so that they can test out different things. Okay, that's your platform, cool. But you're also taking people's music down. Shout out my guy, Sonny Babel. They removed a song, ironically, after I released a video featuring me, and then removed this whole project off of there because they said we detected 89 or 90% fictitious streams and bots on there. So you don't share my customer data with me. You're not sharing any of my information so I can run a business. Now you have the power to take my music down whenever you want to. I'm signed to a record deal.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Even that Spotify for Artists app doesn't show you none of
the
that,
metrics
right?
we need, right? The one we're really running a
Right.
business. But you know what? They've set it up to where they told artists quantity. That's the name of the game if you want to win in streaming. Artists did it. Now look what's happening. Udio and all these different AI websites are now sourcing, God knows where from. They're sourcing from all this quantity that's out there to improve the quality of the AI. We got duped.
Fuck.
So now I'm looking at this and I'm like, whatever your culture is, and whatever you stand for, put that shit behind a paywall. Because you're literally, if you know that you're not making the money from streaming like that, you're doing it for free. You're giving away your culture for free. You're giving away your slang for free. Why are these things important? Because now they're able to study these things within the Chat GPT, which I use, and spit out something that sounds like something you would say. But it's crazy how now the laws are having to catch up with all this shit they let run free. But like they're just now talking about they're trying to pass a bill that has to make the companies, the AI music companies, disclose where they're getting their training from. They're just now getting that. So you see BBL, Drizzy, and all of these, and I'm like, I listen to these, and I'm like, bro, that's the Isley Brothers mixed with Al Green but they can get away with stealing. That's flat out stealing from people's catalogs and their likeness, and then pumping it out to an audience that's like, I can be a producer too, and so
that's scary, bro. This is LimeWire all over again.
It is,
bro.
But this time we know too much. This time we have access to too much information to run the same mistake. So that's why I use my platform. I'm glad you're allowing me to talk about this here.
Yeah.
Is that this is not no personal vendetta. It's just a matter of like, I need to activate my folks and hope they see that it's going to get to a point where you're not even going to be invited to the party no more. Like I just heard the head of UMG, Lucian, just said there's too much music on streaming, in my opinion, and I would like to see that change. Now songs are getting pulled left and right off of Spotify.
Yep, because if they don't, then you ain't getting the
Quality
first
control.
record.
They can't. You
You know what? That reminds me, going back to the record label days. That's what I know, motherfucker. Guess
sound
what?
familiar now,
Bro, when we went from an independent label of like maybe 5 or 6 artists, we were priority. As soon as we went to a major, oh man, we fucking, whose release coming out? Well, guess what? We got Janet Jackson's record to worry about. We got fucking, Stone Temple Pilots. We got so-and-so. And if our shit was thrown out there, which it was on a major, And it was up to art. It's always your job as an artist. You know, you have to learn the hard way sometimes to hustle your music. But you depend on the label to also put you in certain, no certain avenues, pathway, to get you, know your group.
Right.
If it doesn't happen within the first, guess what? You're shelved.
They put it on you.
They shelved. What I mean by shelved is your any other records you got coming out. That's why you hear of artists being stuck at a label. It's because the record labels used to shelve their projects and just let them rot until their agreement was up after so many albums. And then it's all about recouping all that shit.
Man.
So how am I supposed to recoup this money if my shit ain't released? I ain't got that shit in my pocket. And then, it's the advancements that it was an ugly
doing
thing,
it again
bro.
now, but they're doing it to kids that go viral on TikTok, and they're not even necessarily looking at music as their number one passion. They just they hit a pocket. They found some success, and now these labels are signing them, giving them money and telling them to do the same thing. But wait. We want to change this. We want to change this. Actually, you know what? Let's sit you off to the side, TikToker. Actually, we're gonna make sure this TikToker, she just went viral. Let's put her on the Rolling Loud stage. And they're wondering why the quality of, cause somebody made this analysis of one of my videos, one of this comparison. Could you imagine if all of your videos, all of your movies that you're going to watch, if every single one of your actors was replaced by, this is no disrespect because I love a lot of Tubi movies, but they were like replaced by like some of the Tubi actors and some of the people who create skits who are not actors. The quality of the movies would change because this is not, they didn't go through the proper channels.
Right.
That's what's happening to music, is that now you're getting kids who are like, they caught a moment, but they don't even know who they are. So they're getting into a label situation where they don't know how they went viral, but they want a piece of that. Hey, can we sign you? Just basically, can we have dibs on you?
You know what I just...
And if you take care of this, you take, you know what I'm saying? It's like buying real estate.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I mean, I don't know if this relates to what you mentioned, TikTokers and whatnot. Did you watch that Dancing with the... It's a TikTok movie called Dancing with the Devil or something like. Or I'm probably fucking up the title.
Look at that.
I just saw it yesterday. It was a bunch of TikTokers. They were the dancers. You see all the
dancers. It's on Netflix, right?
Yes.
I saw the preview. I didn't watch it.
Somebody in the super chat let me know, correct me, the title on it, but it's something that had the devil or some shit. I think it was Dancing with the Devil. Because they're dancers. Yeah. So there's this, long story short, there was this like pastor, right? And he had this cult. And he basically, he had a church and he was a management company. So what he would do is he would like lure all the TikTokers that were popping. He said, "Hey, you're great. Come over here. You want to make this much? I'll give you a car. I'll give you a house. I'll give you this. But on Sundays we pray. We go to church and we read the word.
Right.
So this is everything's. And I'm the man of God. And I had the dude. It was this dude. He was the man of God. And there was a woman of God. And below them were their TikTokers. And they were still, and a lot of them just left and just became into this cult. Their families didn't hear from them again. That was one of the things. And it's pretty fucking wild. But the fact that you say that is, it reminds me of, these are lost sheep. These are sheep that don't know. These artists that, just, like you just said, they just come out of the house, they go viral. And anybody that comes to them and says, look, I'm sorry, but like, let's go to the Death Row days. Like they were paid in fucking, in value, in cars and Rolls Royces, and as long as that they kept you happy with the material things that you wanted,
right?
But lo and behold, they own your shit.
But it's crazy. The things that we desire, they don't desire. Like the things they desire are the things that they get offered the moment that they get a part of the label, is the opportunity to be on certain platforms, certain podcasts, to be famous, basically. They're not necessarily thinking about artist integrity and about protecting their art. They're not even looking at
numbers.
They're not worried about any of that. But they don't understand
longevity to numbers.
They don't understand the issues that creates for the artists that do come up that's their same age. Not even somebody like me. I'm not concerned about going in that system. But somebody else that comes after them that's like, yo, but I care about my art and I don't want to give this up. They don't understand what that does. But I think that we're in a time period where the worst had to come before it got better. And I think right now what's happening is that it's going to start to correct itself. Because one thing I can give that major label system credit for, the record business, not the music business, the record business, is that if it sells, they'll pivot. If it don't sell, they'll pivot. good, positive hip hop, conscious hip hop, unconscious hip hop, gangs. It don't matter what it is. If it sells, we'll sell in that direction.
Facts.
So when that happens, which I think right now, I think after that, I truly believe like there was things that were leading into this, but I think after that Kendrick versus Drake situation, I think a lot of the landscape is going to change because now there's a void, there's a huge hole of artists, of listeners that are wanting music that makes them feel something different, that has more depth to it, that is not just necessarily to keep them pacified, to keep them, just like music that's just really good to pass the time and forget life. I think life right now is too real to just float past it, and I think people are demanding something different. I think that's why a lot of those Kendrick songs went over the way that they did. So I'm looking at this time period, and I'm like, I talked to, shout out to my guy Daylight. I used to work at Quiznos with Daylight, the famous battle rap and all that. But he told me, he's like, months ago, he said, bro, it's time to dust off that notebook and get to it because the landscape is getting ready to change drastically, and that it is. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like, there are folks who are going to learn things from you in this era that they couldn't learn from anybody else, not the TikToker with 4 billion followers, because they never had to go through the process. They didn't value the process. So I look at this, and I'm like, we're the digital underground. We get to give them some of this experience from the convenience of their home, from the convenience of their phone. Folks who are watching right now from their living rooms or their phone, like, this is crazy. I can't imagine what, like I always said, it's what Tupac would have been with a Twitter account. Wildin', I'm sure. But like,
kicked off.
Being able to, you know what I'm saying? Like being able to like disclose all the stuff that he's seeing and he's learning and he's reading in his books. And I can't imagine all the different sides of a so you got Eazy-E up here. Like, these are folks that were multifaceted, multidimensional human beings that came up in a time where the industry was kind of pushing them to only show one side. But I just look at this now and I'm like, we get to be that full, well-rounded individual. I'm just grateful that we live in this time. I know it's crazy. I know it's discouraging to hear some of the stuff about streaming, but I'm like, dog, we get to go direct to consumer and talk to our demographic every single day. Like, literally, I put out a new project, 10 songs. I could make 30 pieces of content and know that my music is going to be selling and I'll be doing all right.
Because you have the tools to do it and
the tools
and the brains,
the
man.
brain
Smart dude right here.
Yeah.
And remember, guys, you have the same 24 hours. Let's go back to say that, to do what this man is doing, whatever you decide to do. Whether it's music industry, might be do something else. Don't matter. The clock don't change.
Right.
You know what I mean? So with that being said, brother, I want to thank you for pulling up.
Of course.
It's been a great conversation. I know we can go another 3 hours. I want to thank everybody who's been tapping in. And let's promote what you got going on tomorrow.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's content pretty much every day on the channel this week. But tomorrow I'm speaking with an artist who also has been on a lot of exposing of Spotify. And tomorrow's conversation is going to be an eye-opener, I think, for folks who are still on the fence. I think by the end of tomorrow, you'll recognize that, it's one thing when one person says it. It's another thing when you see somebody from a completely different background that's like, no, not only do I see it, but I'm doing this to be proactive about it. So shout out to Kayla Love, who's coming to talk on the platform.
Can we bring up the page?
Yeah.
YouTube?
It's up there on my in the live tab on Curtis King TV on YouTube.
Yeah, let's give it some love, man.
Appreciate that.
That's what we do. We network, man. And one thing I forgot to say is not only do you have the same 24 hours, but piggybacking what you said, we're all broadcasters. If you got a phone, you're a broadcaster. Remember that. And I think that's why a lot of other platforms, like radio, is spiraling because everybody's a broadcaster.
Well, I think that's part of it. But I think, look at what you bring to this space. Like, I'm looking at the way this is set up, and I'm like, man, there's so many podcasts that could benefit from your professionalism. Learning from the example. I'm like, even your cord control, you know what I'm saying? My shit look crazy right now.
No, because when I came in here, here, let's look up on the screen. There it is right there, man. Kayla Love, tomorrow, Curtis. Love. Check out all his videos. I guarantee you'll grab something. You'll get something from each and every one of those, his different playlists. I just wanted to give my man love, Curtis King TV. Check out his music, curtisking.com. Remember, with 2 S's. And yeah, most definitely, brother. But going back to this, bro, is I told these guys, I don't want wires all over the floor. I mean, as far as tripods. So I hung my shits. You see the cameras in there, and when I'm done, they just push up.
Yeah, I can learn something from this. 'Cause my shit look crazy.
And this is research.
And God bless my wife, because she be walking in that room looking like side eye, like.
Yeah.
One day he'll figure it out. I'm figuring about those reusable. What do you call it? The zip ties, the reusable zip ties. I'm learning about how to utilize those.
Oh, the cable ties?
Yeah, the cable ties. Yeah, yeah.
So we'll send you some right now. We got blackout ones.
Man, come on. Yeah, I for sure take out some. I for sure take out some blackout ones. But yeah, man, it's. I think that's the beauty of this time period, is that one thing I'm recognizing is that the same thing happening in sports is happening in music right now, and that you're seeing all of these analysts that are being replaced. These people who went to like traditional journalism school, they're being replaced by actual athletes that know the game on a deeper level. Yeah, the Stephen A. Smiths are valuable because their knowledge and their character and their kind of persona, but that's not enough for the fan that wants more. That's why LeBron James and JJ Redick's podcast is so important to people, because you're getting the X's and O's and not like this player doesn't like this coach and this, like, not the drama, not the gossip.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we represent as well, is like, yeah, somebody can give a reaction of something that's happening. You can give a reference and say, well, this happened in this year, and I can tell you exactly how this is going to play out because I know that. And that is putting you in a position of authority and of knowledge in this space. I look at this and I'm like, there's a lot of things that I actually am still going through right now that I can give information that's going to be valuable. So I think that as much as it is kind of dire for a lot of platforms, because they're looking at this like, man, it's even in the playing field, it ain't as even as what it appears to be. A lot of folks out here just you know what I'm saying? They're just floating through this next stage of life, and they'll be done with their podcast in 6 months. How do I know? Because I've seen this shit over the last 10 years.
True.
Over and over and over again. They move from something else. I've seen a lot of hot shots come in here, go crazy, and then disappear. I look at this, and I'm like, I remember Will Smith said that one time. He was like, I've already committed that if you get on the treadmill next to me, and I'm on the same treadmill on another one, he says, I'm not getting off. Or he said, the only way I get off is if I die. I'm not getting off this treadmill. It's not a competition, but I'm telling you, I'm not getting off this treadmill unless I die. And I don't want that to be the measurement of it, but I look at this and I'm like, dog, I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. I'm taking care of myself, and I'm making sure that I'm pacing this right. But man, salute to what you're doing, and thank you for having me on, because yeah, it's a big deal to get such praise from a legend like yourself. So I appreciate you so much.
Oh, most definitely, man. It's there, brother.
Come on.
Welcome anytime, man. Curtis King, CurtisKing.com, Curtis King, all platforms. Man, go follow this dude. Subscribe. To hell.
Subscribe.
And, best believe I got more questions off air, too. I got to ask this man, so that's why I want to cut this, because I got a lot in my back pocket.
Let's go.
I know you can help me, too, bro. But other than that, guys, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at The Blackout Podcast. We go live once a week, every Monday, 8 p.m., unless, of course, we're on tour. Expect a pre-record. But we do not leave you without content. Just know that, all right? So other than that, Danny, anything else, Tortonator? Anything you want to push?
You covered it. We're good.
Wait a minute. We forgot something. We got to leave them with something. What's cracking this weekend? Curtis, you invited too, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, this weekend we got our
Let me know when
Sunday,
it's ready. Man,
Sunday
talking like
party.
you want to party, dog. Come on. I'm over here the one with the ulcer.
It's full. Nah, the LSOB Sunday Day Party going down this Sunday, June 9th, inside Killer Queens.
Downtown Riverside.
This is the post right here.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it up real quick.
It's a throwback party, man, that I started, man. It's presented by us, designed, created by us on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday fun day.
I like them hours.
Downtown Riverside. Yeah, man, it's one of those things. You wake up, you don't go out Saturday, 3 to 8 p.m. Go get your michelada, your palomas. You home in bed by 10, man.
I respect that. I respect that. Need
21
that.
over. So, yeah, we got Lil Blackie. We got Roscoe. Shout out DPG. Coming through, performance, all 90s vibes. And, of course, Lighter Shade of Brown. We closing out the show, man. We got your tickets on eventbrite.com, and you can get that VIP experience. You get yourself an autographed poster, meet and greet with us, and then, some swag, too, LSOB swag. So,
yeah.
Thank you, guys. Got to keep it going. But, again, man, we'll see you guys this Sunday. If we don't, we'll see you right back here on Monday. Peace out, man.
Peace.